Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back again. My name is Salco, and for our second and final series of tonight and final of 6 series for this week, I'm joined by Blue Panda and Light Rose, who are going to be your casters for these next two maps. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing real good, back for a third day in a row, and I could not be more excited, especially given the matchup. It's my boys Emergence. This is probably the team I'm the most familiar with in in fact, they were one of my first North American broadcasts. They've got some absolute units in the team, so I'm excited to see what they're bringing. Renaissance, they're that unknown entity. They've come seemingly out of nowhere. They've got some pretty decent players all in all. I've done a bit of research, seen some of the history they have, so they could potentially give us a real good series.
100% agreed there, Blue, and I am very excited. I know Renascence has definitely been going on a Twitter campaign, getting themselves ready to face Emergence. They've been hyping it up, so I know for sure they're going to be coming into this one really strong. So, Light Rose, what are your impressions? I know you're newer to SCS and newer with all these teams, but do you have anything you want to say before we really get into the meat and potatoes?
I'm just excited, to be a part of these first play days. I was kind of briefed up on these teams. Emergence lost the semifinals to the champion, and this kind of newer Renaissance team, it should be somewhat of a battle. Blue Panda mentioned there's a little bit of history. They, going on Twitter wanting to somewhat win the trash talk Twitter battle. And I mean, words can say a lot, but you got to show up on the field.
100% agree with you there. I mean, I'm excited to see exactly who the results are going to go in favor of, because I think it was all over the Twitter poll where that all started. So let's see if the poll is going to be true and Emergence is going to lead this one, or if Renaissance is going to come from behind and absolutely destroy the predictions out of the water. So let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of the teams that we're going to be talking about here today and look at these rosters. Renascence is going to be this new team that we haven't really seen just yet in SCS, but they are fantastic nonetheless. They showed themselves again really well during open and closed qualifiers. They were absolutely on a roll, so I know for sure they're going to come back with a vengeance for this one. So, Blue, I don't know if you actually got to cast their game during the qualifiers, but if you remember from quals, what was your biggest highlight about this team?
No, unfortunately, I missed out on dealing with these guys, but I've heard some very interesting stuff. If I remember correctly, on the back side of things, they have Jig, who some people may not know the name as much as certain other players, but he's there, he's involved, he's actually a former Challenger League player. He's done reasonably well. He is associated with the roster. I believe he's the coach, if not the captain, but I don't think he is playing today. So they've got some pretty significant backing, and if they've got someone like Jig in the roster, surely they have some other diamonds in the rough. They've obviously come into this, they made it without really being this known entity, so I'm excited to see what they bring. It's these teams that come out of nowhere that can really disrupt the ecosystem of a tournament, and they could be that dark horse going into the later stages.
Definitely, Blue. Thank you for that insight there. We're going to take a look at Emergence here, and I'm going to give this one to Light Rose. I know that you're still newer to SCS, but have you watched some of the gameplay of these guys? I know they were on quite a bit during the previous season, so did you get a chance to watch them?
I did not, but I know that expectations are definitely high for Emergence. I think they're really thirsty to come back and take it all, not satisfied with that semifinal loss. We got all these great members, and Blue, do you have anything that, I could possibly miss out on being somewhat newer to SCS?
Oh, look, I love these guys. They're a great bunch of players. Goria specifically, he's a wild card when it comes to Rainbow Six. You never know what he's going to do next. He's either heavily involved in making the plays that win the game for the team, or unfortunately, he goes for those risky plays and sometimes gets punished. But Ben as well, one of the key players that pushed them through the qualifiers. Unfortunately, it wasn't streamed on our end, but Son of Finn, who is the IGL, was streaming it on his end. They went down 4-2 in the opening half of the third map on Oregon. They clawed it back off the back of some spectacular play to Ben, Moved, and Goria. They stepped up huge, won the map out, and here they are. They're back in things. So, yeah, they've got some very competent players. They've got some rather unexpected approaches to some of these maps. And yeah, it's really going to be on Renaissance to figure out how to approach it, how to deal with them, because everyone knows what happens when a wild card is let loose. If they are given the room to frag, given the room to roam, which we know that Mr. Goria likes, or formerly Mr. Goria, now just straight up Goria, the guy can go absolutely ballistic.
Oh, 100%. I mean, last season he was the MVP of the season just because he had such a high player rating. His kill death ratio, I think, was in the positive 60 range or something like that, including the finals. I can't remember the exact number, but my lord, he is a gunner if I've ever seen one. So we look for him to sort of take over again tonight. And then there's a notable change as well on the roster. Sonafin is not going to be playing with us tonight, even though he is the IGL. His parents said no. So we are going to have a sub coming in for him, but Emergence is still going to be the roster that we love to see. But at the same time, taking a look at the bans, guess what maps we're going to be playing, guys? It's going to be Oregon and it's going to be Clubhouse yet again.
Who would have thought? No, actually, no, I'm not that upset. I'm a huge fan of Oregon. It's the map that Emergence, they won their way into the season off of that map, so they know it very well. They play it rather interestingly. They bring some out there approaches to it, but Clubhouse, yeah, it's that stock standard tier 3 map. Everyone should know it. Everyone should understand how to play it. You're not going to be seeing anything spectacularly new.
Definitely agree with you there, Blue. Light Rose, obviously you've been our 6th person. What do you think about these maps? I know we just watched them earlier, but what's your take?
I mean, Oregon, it seems that even though Ubisoft kind of reworked it, teams just absolutely love the kind of style that it's brought, the new challenges that is brought, like Attic, walk-in closet, kids dorm. Those are just entries into sites that can be played out in multiple ways. Basement, it's a great map to watch, a great map to play on, and it's a great map to strategize on. And it's really no wonder that these teams want to play on Oregon. And I'm going over to Clubhouse. I mean, like Panda mentioned, it's just through and through. Teams know how to play it. And at the end of the day, if you know how to play it, you'll know how to win it.
Yeah, definitely agree. I mean, both maps have become sort of the current meta, I would say, but we're still just waiting on a couple things from both these teams here. We need to know exactly like who's what side and vice versa for these last 2 maps. So they're going over that right now. But with that being said, what has been your guys' favorite moment so far from SCS? I'm going to go ahead and throw that question out. I talked to it about the analysts earlier, but if you had to pick one from this week, what would it be?
Well, I mean, I've had the stunning opportunity to cast, all 3 Playdays so far this week. Yesterday, my highlight, 100% Spiker, the young gun coming in, 1v4 clutch on Basement, and Clubhouse to just absolutely demolish them. I mean, that kid has a bright future. I'm just going to say that now. If he's pulling out stuff like that at such a young age, given the years to develop before he can actually, commit to competitive play in any of the big tournaments, I mean, if he's this good now, a couple of years down the line, he's going to be one of those names that sits alongside the likes of Bolo, the likes of Pengu. He has that opportunity. So if he's given the chance to develop, if he finds some extra opportunities on the backside of this, I'm excited to see what he can pull out.
Yeah, fantastic. So, Light Rose, I'm going to toss that same question over to you. Do you have a favorite moment so far from this season?
I mean, it's really, really hard to beat that. A 1v4 only comes around maybe once a week, maybe every 2 weeks. And it's just something that sticks in your mind. And with someone so young and just there's so much talent, mechanical skill, working with a team that can really allow you to thrive. It's something that really makes you want to keep watching competitive R6, make you want to keep watching, SCS, all these other games, and just compete on that level. And so I would have to agree with Panda that is 100% moment that's really stuck with me, at least for this week.
Yeah, awesome, guys. Well, looks like we have determined who is going to be playing what side here. It looks like Emergence is going to start on attack for Clubhouse, and then it is going to be the exact opposite for Oregon. Emergence gets the advantage in terms of the defense first on that map. So we're going to have to see if it's going to be more the traditional 4-2 splits coming out or if it's going to be 3v3s on the half. So we're going to go ahead and toss it over to the predictions. Just take a look yet again on these, and it is a clean sweep right now. everybody that was able to submit a prediction from staff says Emergence is going to take it. And I think this is another part of the reason why Renascence came in on Twitter and was like, yo, they're trolling with the predictions. So prove me wrong. That's what I'm going to say right now. I want to see it. I want to see the most tight battle that we have had all season so far. I know the season's been short, but prove me wrong. But Blue and Light Rose, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I myself, I went the same line as Chief. I know he and I had exactly the same picks throughout things. And I mean, yes, at the moment, I'm sitting pretty. If Emergence win this, I've almost got that full clean sweep. He and I will be sitting top of the leaderboard. But as much as I like being right, I like being upset as well. Especially, I got to cast In Control Nation versus 303. In Control Nation, they literally lived up to their name, map number 1. Then 303 came out of nowhere with a spectacular performance in map number 2. I love seeing the upsets. I'm always fans of the underdog. You give me a story to work with. You give me a cast where you prove why you deserve to be in this tournament, despite being, I think the split was 84 to 16% in terms of the community vote as to In Control Nation just sweeping the series. And the fact that that was the result, a 1-1 trade in terms of maps, I love it. I absolutely love it. So as much as I want my boys Emergence to win, Renascence, if they can bring it back, I'd be just as happy.
Not knowing
Awesome.
about.
So,
Sorry.
I'm so sorry, Lyra. Go for it. That was
I'm
my
not.
bad.
I want to mention that not knowing about Renaissance when everybody knows about Emergence is really something that it's that underdog kind of story. It's these teams that we know before. I mean, In Control versus 303. Everybody expects In Control because they know how good they are, but everybody knows how good Emergence are. But really, nobody knows for sure how much Renaissance can really hang up here with these other teams, and they could definitely come through, bring out that underdog, some crazy picks. They definitely want to back up what they're saying on Twitter. I know that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to make sure that, predictions are definitely upset.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, awesome takes. So let's go ahead and kick it on over to some of the operator statistics that we had from last season and see sort of how true those are from this season so far while we wait for just the last couple things to fall into place for our match. So we see the Zofia and the Ashe, very, very high pick rates from the previous season, and I believe that is definitely holding true this season. Like I've been saying, it's utility burn meta, and I think it's very, very valuable to bring those operators, especially with the soft breach that they provide as well. And yeah, actually, I just got confirmation in my other ear that Zofia is at a current 92% pick rate, which is nuts, and Ashe is at 82.
82. I'm surprised considering we have seen this dynamic shift, I suppose, with the current season, with the current changes. Some of these operators have fallen a little bit out of fashion. We're seeing some more, diverse rosters. I know there has been a little bit of priority around Capital. He offers some incredible new utility. Because before it was, yes, you flush out these defenders from those defensive positions with asphyxiating bolts, you cut off lines of sight with the smoke bolts. Now having that secondary hard gadget, he can fill even the secondary / tertiary hard breach role that you see. Usually it's a Maverick, a Hibana, and sometimes a Thermite, depending on what map it is. So he can fill that third role. You don't necessarily need the Hibana in that situation. Capital largely can provide a little bit more utility. So yeah, there has been a bit of a shift. I'm not surprised at all that we're seeing as much Ashe and Zofia as we have been. They're pretty much standard in the current meta.
Yeah, awesome, Blue. And Light Rose, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the defensive side of things. So looking at the statistics from this season as well, so the ones that are displayed on the screen are from last. We do see Jaeger dropping just so slightly to 93.7% overall pick rate, which isn't that crazy much of a difference, but it's still insane to me how much Jaeger is picked, and it just shows why this meta is so oppressive right now. But another interesting thing is that Maestro has actually slid his way up into the second place slot. He's getting picked at about a 68% pick rate, and Y drops all the way down to 31%, which is very confusing given all the throwables and things like that are coming out. But also at the same time, Maestro is so valuable for intel. So Light Rose, what do you think might be the reasoning for that swap sort of between Wamai and Maestro?
I mean, it's definitely with the emergence of, somewhat of the Zofia and Ashe rising, Maestro is just able to drain that. Even though it's somewhat of a sacrifice, that they're going to use this soft destruction on it. It's able to give information out, which is such a valuable tool. And it's, sometimes it's able to zap. Last match, we did see on some certain sites, the Meister Camp was just able to open up its blinders and shoot the planter and single-handedly win the round for the defenders. And Wamai, he's got good gadget, but compared to Jaeger, you could just bring a Jaeger and substitute that Maestro like we're seeing happening, and you'll effectively get somewhat of the same thing. The only thing you lose might be that deployable shield, which can be substituted. We've seen more of a Warden kind of come through. He does have that deployable shield, but that is really what I can say for Maestro somewhat usurping Wamai.
Yeah, perfect, guys. So I'm going to ask a real quick question here, too, for both of you or whoever wants to answer it. Deployable shields, somewhat of a hot butt topic right now with Rainbow Six, obviously, since they added those like mini Miro windows that everybody either loves or hates. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that that is creating too much of like a crazy meta, or what do you think?
It very much is a hot button topic. I know it made an appearance on 6on6 with Intero and Canadian. They were talking about it with Meepy and just how powerful and advantageous the defenders are going to have a time sitting behind that shield. I think that the biggest thing going the way of the attackers is it's not 100% like a mirror shield. You're still going to get flash looking through those slits, so you're not 100% guaranteed to survive. I think, yeah, they are in terms of just how many are available to any given team with the current meta lineup for the defenders. It can be a bit much in some situations, especially given Goyo, he's going to be bringing 2 Vulcan shields, which they're incredibly powerful. They're great at stalling out attack pushes. So yeah, I think I agreed with what I think it was Meepy that said it best. You know, take some of those deployable shields, give them to less conventional defensive operators, force them to either become part of the meta because they have the shield, or just leave it out of your lineup. So I think that would be the best approach, because I mean, you're going in for a push, you see 2 shields, 2 regular deployable shields, then you see 2 Vulcans on top of that. You're not going to have a good time. You've got to deal with them. It takes so very, very long in this utility sync meta. And there has been a dynamic shift away from that 20-second meta. They've tried to do that, but unfortunately, because so many of those operators have the deployable shields, it's always going to be a thing.
Yeah, awesome. And Light Rose, I'm going to sort of alter the question a little bit there. So, Wamai has been the operator that's been chosen right now as, you know, the one that needs to get his shield released, I guess. But then who do you think would get that shield really quickly before we get everything in and ready to go? So just who do you think on defense, if you had to pick one operator that needs a deployable, who gets it?
Ooh, that's really hard. I want to say one of the defenders that, you know, are kind of in that slippage. Definitely not something like Amira. It's possible we could see more Mute instead, but, you know, I'm just super excited to see what these defending operators, how Ubisoft is going to start, you know, balancing them away possibly from like Wamai. You know, we're seeing his band rates come through simply because he has a global shield and that anti-utility kind of gadgets.
Well, speaking of balancing, I'm sorry to cut you off, Nash. I know you probably had something to say. We'll see you later. We were going to head straight into Clubhouse, and the balancing is a key factor in some of these operator bans. To kick things off, it is going to be Thatcher, taken away by Renascence. Light Rose, what are you expecting in terms of the other bans?
I would possibly see a Capital ban. Like you mentioned, Habana is something that is sometimes banned, but we are seeing a Maverick, you know, that makes it a little bit harder to get on these basement hatches, a little bit harder for CCTV wall. You know, you might have to go under with a Zofia, with an IQ, something like that, instead of just really standing outside, standing above the hatch and just holding right click and left click.
Yeah, going onto the defense, there has been that dynamic shift. So Wamai has seen less priority, probably because he has been spending more time on the bench being banned out. K, the other one, it's a very obvious choice. For coming into Clubhouse, you want to be able to enable those hatch openings. So that's going to be taken away, unfortunately. Final one, it's going to be Renascence ban. What are you picking?
I would probably say Mira, and that is what's actually going to happen. You know, Mira, I say it over and over again, is that she is just one of the best defenders on defense. I may not be a perfect operator, but she's pretty close. She's got such an oppressive gadget, a C4, a great gun. You know, it recently got that 1.5 scope, so you're able to get a little bit more zoom in. You know, and you've just got such a great way of stopping these attackers, and they have to really force you as an operator, simply force the attackers to go somewhere else, change their strategy just by existing, not even, you know, using your gadget actively, just putting it down because they have no idea if you're behind there, if you're prepping a C4, something. So you have to really change the strategy, and that's why she gets banned so often.
Yeah, but we're coming in around number 1. It's going to be basement to start things off. Like I've said a couple of times now on Clubhouse, there has been a shift away from, you know, the standard primary, secondary, tertiary, or number 1 boomy rooms not through number 3, which is my go-to for referring to them now. It's either CCTV or basement. There's no, you know, 1, 2, and 3. It's now you either go there. It's a team preference at the end of the day. So they pick that number 1 role. But going on to the defense, we saw the bans come out. There have been a couple that have been let through, which could be quite terrifying. Valkyrie and Melusi are both on the board, and we both know information gathering. It's a tactical shooter. You need that information. In fact, if you're not utilizing the information given to you, you're basically throwing away kills, rounds, all the rest of it. And on top of that, Melusi with the Banshees, the single most infuriating offensive operator, I think, other than Legion, and they've got both of them.
Yeah, it's going to be a sludge fest for Emergence to get through. They've got some utility to get rid of it, like they've got, you know, the Zafia Ash, which obviously get played, but only got those frag grenades from Evil Clouds, which might have to be used to take out these Melusi gadgets, and then you can't use them on, you know, some other operators like we see. You know, we see Dunny trying to peek this window, got that Black Eye C4 ready, and they're just going to peek it. Some firing going their way, but they're just going to be cautious and run back down the stairs.
That's an interesting name. So for those of you that aren't aware, I'm from New Zealand. I spent some time living in Australia. Dunny in Australia is a name for a toilet. So that could be an interesting situation for me casting this one out. But he was going for a spawn peek, rather aggressive in that situation. Ben, though, is going to be the one to start taking damage as they've got Dirt Tunnel open. There was no breach denial brought here. They're going to kick off this attack, start the execute, get the vertical control, which is so key on this bomb site. But the big question is, can they get that hatch and kitchen open? That's such a key position. You need to be able to contest from there on the attack. And if you can't, it gives the defenders so much room to work with. At the moment, Goria, that wild card here for Emergence, sitting in dirt, waiting for the key, waiting for things to go. Ben with a hot drop down through the hatch. He's in armory already. Look at that. He's going to find the opener onto Smithers. How do you let someone get away with it now? They're getting control of the bomb site. Goria's going to work in, take Quinna out. And all of a sudden, things are just flipped on their head. Jig still there, still relevant as he takes out Stizzy, the sub here for Emergence. And Nebula, he's going to have a crossfire on Agoria. That MP5 still relevant, but move, Ben. They move in quickly. Nebula and Dunny hit the ground, and unfortunately, in a quick turn of events, it's Jig in a 1v3, which he cannot contest because Moved is ready and waiting. And Emergence with an absolute sweep out in round number 1.
I don't know if I can describe that anything other than an absolute Chad move. Intentional or unintentional. That's definitely a Chad move by Ben. Opening that hatch, dropping through, and just getting that kill onto Smithers. You know, absolutely change the round because now we see Renascence. They have to move onto site. They know that Ben is just absolutely waiting with the Type 89, and all of these other attackers can just absolutely rush onto the site, knowing that it's somewhat clear, giving the calls from Ben. And going back to church, I don't expect to see something like that again. You know, we're not seeing still some hard breach denial, but will we see some more security around that kitchen hatch?
Well, I mean, the insane thing is they had 4 impacts online on the defense. No impact trick came out. I mean, maybe the initial impact trick came out, but the fact that they didn't go for a follow-up, Nebula had pulled off the angle, just gave up the hatch for free. And I mean, I don't know if you guys in chat are familiar, if you were watching the stream Son of Finn was doing during that final match of the qualifiers, but I'm pretty sure every round the name that was being called over and over again was Ben, you're insane. Ben, you're cracked. Ben, how are you doing this? Because he was a driving force in the clutch every single round, which guaranteed them that spot in this series. And coming into it, round number 1, a convincing way to take it light. And if this is what we're going to be seeing coming out of Emergence at the first stage of this map, I mean, it's a defender-sided map. That's the side teams most likely prefer. What are we going to see going into the second half?
I mean, I'm just afraid of how Emergence is going to win these, and if they're going to win them really fresh, really kind of making fun of Renascence in a way, not intentionally, but that was somewhat of, you know, a silly play. And we're seeing somewhat of the same execution coming out. We're seeing, you know, no hard breach denial in the dirt, only Jig kind of going through their throwing Legion Mine. Not really going to do much to stop them. But we do see Ben kind of moving towards that kitchen hatch. Similar kind of attacking style, but Still no one there, but we do see Nebula on the kitchen hatch. They have those impacts, the 6 impacts. They need to use them because you want to put a halt to Ben. Already round 1, the motivation is firing, all cylinders going through, and you just want to put a stop to this already. And there we go. We do see one of the impacts able to take out that Hibana charge, and they've got 5 more to deal with Ben's Hibana X Kairos. Move does have 1 more thermite charge, but I don't know if that'll be enough to get over this kitchen hatch.
Yeah, the Nitro Cell has already been committed, so they have no real solid way to deal with the players up in kitchen, opening that floor. There you go, Stizzy's running around doing his job. I don't even think he's doing it tactically. He's just doing it to try and distract the players downstairs. Jig already taking an absolute truck ton of damage. Dunny as well getting tagged below half now, and the chip damage is there for Emergence. They're initiating things. They want to do as much damage as possible. Drone goes in. Ben sees 2 players because Valkyrie, Dunny was on cams. They had no idea Quinner, if he'd gone for the shot, possibly would have tagged him up. And there we go. Jig finally finished by Ben. 2 rounds in a row. He's found the opener. He gets refragged out by the MPX of Dunny though. So they are going to even things up. The unfortunate realization, though, is that Dunny is less than full health. So not much investment going to be needed to take him out. And look at this. Evil Cloud already contesting from dirt. Has Goria to back him up. This could be, again, a very hectic, very chaotic push into the bomb site with Overwatch from Stizzy. They've got everything they need to go for that execute. Unfortunately, though, Dunny is going to take out Stizzy, who was watching from above. 3 versus 4, but he's very low.
Yeah, going to be thrown out, but this vertical play is just still haunting Renaissance's defense. But we are seeing, you know, Quinner trying to take that out, trying to take out Move, but Dunny still again a triple kill, eventually gonna go down, but they've definitely done their job as it's only Evil Clouds left in dirt. They've got 3 members to go against, and they're gonna lose that one. Renaissance, a great job coming back after a really harsh first round.
Yeah, Dunny, just the tip of the triangle there as he found 3. Nebula and Quinner just had to clean it up on the backside of it, and they did that just perfectly. I don't know what it was that went wrong for Emergence in the attack. Maybe they just didn't have the utility they needed to deter them. But, I mean, you look at Quinner. You can see him through the box in the screen. We're already waiting for that push to come. Evil Clouds was trying to cover the angle into blue. Goria was the one to push out, and he just gets gunned down anyway. Gets the refrag, but from there, the damage had already been done. Dunny just putting in big work. The big change now, though, obviously having 1 basement. They've got to go to a different bomb site. We're going to be heading to CCTV. This one is going to be an interesting one. Like you talked about, the Zephyr, you need to be going below, doing damage onto those bandit batteries to enable the opening of CCTV wall. Are we going to see some more shenanigans out of Emergence? So that's my question. They like the rush. They like the unexpected plays. CCTV, it can be harder to pull off, though.
Yeah, because you've got to go under. There's really nowhere you can rush. I mean, there's possible through pipes, possibly through construction, but these doorways are just so tight and just make such a loud noise that it's just so able for these defenders to locate you. And I'm expecting somewhat of a really big roam game from Renaissance. You know, we're seeing a lot of mobile operators. We would see, you know, Nebula having that 3-speed. Quinner, Jaeger was a 3-speed. Ubisoft tried to nerf him. I don't exactly know if that went the way he wanted with his absolutely 93% pick rate in SCS, but you know, these mobile operators still might be able to catch Emergence on their toes and really keep them moving, because I think that's what Emergence somewhat needs to do, is they need to be able to relocate their strats, change some things up, because Renaissance, you know, winning the second round definitely changed the mindset of a lot of things. It changed the momentum, and you know, we could see some shift in momentum, but it's all up to how Emergence is going to play this attacking round.
Already noticing some interesting stuff. Renaissance, they didn't bring an SAS operator, they didn't bring a shotgun, so those rotation holes are not going to be available. This could be a huge downside to their strategy, because you need those rotates in red stairs. You need to be able to switch in between there and cash. Gives you much more positional advantage. So now the play at top red is going to be locked out. There's no way for them to escape except into CCTV, which is about to be opened up. There we go, exothermic. That's no longer a defensible position. You're going to be in a pinch if they go to swing. If they get control of Garage, there's no way for you to escape. So maybe Renaissance making a bit of a misplay here. And there we go. We kick it off. Stizzy with a nade from below in stock. Completely unchecked. Deals with the whammy. No magnet's going to be generating up for the rest of the round. And I think Renaissance have made a huge mistake here.
And now we see Emergence just kind of closing the door on everything. We've seen some vertical play. We're seeing that CCTV wall open that's going to allow Emergence to go on through. All they need to do is garage, and they'll have all the Infinity Stones that they need to push on through. But Dunny with the double kill. That's going to put a halt to a lot of Emergence's plans. And now they have to rethink things. But the one thing they have is time. We're seeing Nebula back off on this garage take because this is where Emergence might need to really salvage this attacking round, as Smithers is going to take out Moved, and Renaissance, with its opening pick, they might come through. But a 3v1 as Goria finds a double kill there. It's just Dunny and Smithers left to stop Goria's reign.
Yeah, Goria, the wild card. I'm going to keep talking about him. If he keeps making these plays, he's found 2 in the round. Diffuser, it's not probably going to be the play here. Kills are going to be the name of the game. Smithers and Dunny still left alive. 1 Nitro Cell in the pocket. But you see where they are. We could see the position where Goria gets control of Garage, is able to play around that hard wall through the soft breach. I don't even think they have a soft rotate there because no impacts, no shotguns. It means that this could be a disadvantageous defense here for Renascence. But Goria, he's going to play it smart. Drone in. Goes up red stairs. They're both in cash, it seems like. So sees... Yeah, he sees one. He is going to be given that information. As yeah, there you go. See, there's no rotate. That's rough. That is going to be incredibly rough. But what's even rougher is playing the clock here. Goria anticipating a run down red stairs. But the more he checks, the longer he has to go. The further he has to go, rather, and less time to do it. And goes for a pre-fire on a cash door. He's going to jump in. There's so many holes open. Goes for a spray on the floor. He finds Dunny. It's a 1v1 with 7 seconds left. 5, 4. No! Smithers, he just steps out. And unfortunately, the Commando 9 just better than the RG-15 at the end of the day. Renaissance will take the round lead.
I mean, that was making the best of a bad situation there. It was a 4v1, and Glory was just able to crawl it all back to a 1v1. I didn't think they were even able to get that second one, but a great job by Renaissance, staying calm, not pushing these angles, and allowing Goria to really just absolutely clean house. But are we seeing Renaissance? They're not having, as you mentioned, that smoke, the shotguns, the mute, anything like that. And they don't have the rotates. We're finally seeing a mute being brought through for, the first time in this game. And will that kind of change things up? We go over to Jim Bedroom, and the rotate is absolutely needed. So good job on Dunny, finally bringing that M590, such a huge part of a lot of teams, because its ability to just make these massive holes allow for strats that are really able to be used. And how will Renaissance, are they going to be able to clean up, take this map as a split, and just keep on rolling?
Well, we'll see. They're getting themselves set up for it. They've bought that belt once again. This time it's in the hand of Smithers rather than Dunny. Dunny has been given the role of the mute. That SCS operator, the solid operator with the shotgun. Here, though, they've opted into the mute rather than the bandit this time. I'm a big fan of the mute. Just the jammers denying information. It's a dual purpose. You can't get through the breach. You cannot see what's going on inside because your drones, yeah, you're going to struggle to get past them. 3 Nitro Cells on the board. It's not quite the full 4, as Chief likes to refer to it as Nitro Cell Bonanza. I call it Hell in the Nitro Cell because anywhere you're standing, you're going to be feeling pain if you're not careful. But going into this round, Capitao came out. Slizzy was sitting on 0. He's not currently available to play in the tournament so far, so it was an obvious 6th pick. Capitao, it's come in. The Brazilian, the asphyxiating bolts are going to be great for this bomb site, not to mention those smoke bolts. It's going to be interesting to see where that placement comes down. Evil Cloud, look at that long angle from Con. He's staring straight into main stairs. If he can find shots onto someone, and you see that Quinners is at the bottom. If he rotates back up, he could be punished quite heavily here. He is sitting by the window. If he stands up, or is he going to see the head? Cloud swinging, but Quinn is very aware of the real possibility of that shot coming through.
There's so much tension between these two operators. Who's going to make the first move? Because it's going to happen. Quinner is just patiently waiting, and he is draining a little bit of time from Evil Clouds, not able to do that soft destruction, not able to absolutely destroy with that R4C. And we see Emergence trying to get this hot tub wall open, as finally Clouds is going to move away from those stairs window. Sadly, no crazy peaks going to happen today. And now we're seeing the first person go down, and that's Ben. Ben was a rampage for Emergence. Now they are down with about 1:40 left in this round. That's not good for the rest of round for Emergence.
It will be done to get it with that SMG-11. It took a while. The van wave came in, so it's good to see. Oh no, Stizzy just through the drone hole. Catches a good chunk of damage, unfortunately, for Emergence, but the return is there. They say, you know what, if you're going to shoot us through here, we can do just as much damage as you on that gym window. Sorry, Goria is there waiting. These players with the cross angle, CCTV, a dangerous position if they're not droning it out. And Emergence, they feel like they're stuttering a little bit here. They're not watching their angles. They're not playing as we know they can. It could be a case that their attack isn't quite as strong as their defense. They finally get the Jacuzzi all open, but they lose Dizzy in the process. Dunny again, SMG-11 in hand. Jig gonna chime in with one of his own. Goria drops down. He's absolutely demolished. 1 versus 5. We are staring down the barrel of a flawless round. Can move, get anything, do some damage, deny that flawless. There he goes. He's found Dunny. 1v4 now, a doable situation with 37 seconds left on the clock. He's going to go for the rappel up onto the roof, try and bait someone for the run out, go for the reposition, get the diffuser. But time is not on his side here. That 6th defender coming in hard. Definitely hitting at the moment. Might go for the jump. Nitro sell out. Sees the player in CCTV. It's Nebula to shut it down. Unfortunate. They lose the round. Renascence have taken 3 in a row here, Light.
Yeah, they are on a roll. Renascence absolutely pushing through, winning that gym regime. You usually see attacking teams kind of push through and win that round, but they struggled to get that hot to wall open. We saw a black eye cam just absolutely calling out these attackers with that new yellow ping, and that just gave these defenders just so much information to work with, where these attackers were going, when they could run out, when they could deploy their C4s. And like you mentioned, Emergence, they seem to be struggling, watching their angles, watching their flanks. They're playing not tight R6. And that's absolutely allowing Renascence to really walk over them, because in the end, you need to be on top of your game if you're going up against someone of equal stature.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the case. If I remember correctly, Stizzy is actually one of the analysts or the coach for the team. I think he's the player who stepped in for Sonafin. Sonafin, if you remember, the IGL for the team, and that can definitely be a detriment. If you're not having a standard IGL, you're not having the person that you're used to making the calls in position to do that, it can undermine some of these rounds. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out in the half. We're heading back down to basement now in round number 5. Renascence have taken things back very, very well. They hit 3-1 so far, so any more rounds they get, that's going to be perfect. It will just set them up for that clean sweep as they move on to the attack. And again, you see 6 impact grenades coming out. No nitro cells this time round. Going into this, it's going to be a real test to how they get into the bomb site. It looks like a full spawn over by Con. They're going to look to get open dirt tunnel once again. But the last time it didn't work. Stizzy, though, anticipating the run out, just punishes Jig. And that is a great kill to be finding. Legion, the longer he's in the round, the longer he can have an impact, because those goo mines generate up. You throw them down, you stall the push out. That is a huge kill to be taken off the bat.
Yeah, I possibly question why Jig felt the need to do that. Even though we did see Renascence, they have the momentum, they have these rounds, and Jig, I guess they're just running someone off the high of kind of going that missed flash there from Evil Clouds flashing themselves, but that's definitely a mistake at the end of the day, because now you put your team really in a bad situation. A 4v5 is not where you want to be. That can really change the round. But Ben is going to take some damage on Kitchen Hatch. If Renascence is able to find that refrag onto Ben, that could put the ball back into their court, could make it so that they really have the choice on how they want the round to go.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Jig died, still having an impact in his inventory, that could have been huge, denying that hatch. They still used 4, and they still lost control of it. And there we go, Evil Cloud's trying to line up the shot onto the shield. Toxic Canister doing some big damage. He pushes through it, but he's sitting at about 25 health in total. He did some damage to Smithers with the breaching round, but nothing overly significant. A minute and a half left to play. It's a 5v4. They've got the man advantage. They've got the positional advantage. Move now opening up the hatch and bar. They can start to go for that execute. The real question is, how effective is it going to be? Because Renascence have proved that they can frag very well.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, we're seeing Dunny with that 7 and 4. They know how to wield a gun. But the question is, does Emergence know how to put themselves in the positions to not really worry about winning these 1v1 gunfights, getting the better position, opening up these hatches that allow them to get these open holes. You know, Daddy with that sledgehammer can be absolutely huge, just creating holes that Emergence is able to, you know, maybe not even get kills, just scare off these defenders, allowing them to push forward, get the plant, something of the nature. But we're seeing somewhat of a stable thing is now Daddy gets a double kill. That's Quinner. That's 2 on the round. They are really making their worth today. And now we're seeing Goria push in through Memorial, and they're going to find Dunny. Now 2v5 as Smithers gets the refrag onto Cloud. But, oh, that Malusi going down means that Goria is on a 2K, and Smithers the only one left, and they are down as well. Emergence finally winning a round and stopping the momentum of Renaissance.
That's the Emergence that we know and love. Goria stepping up, going as that wild factor. Push down main stairs, found 2 big frags at long range. Well, 1 close range, 1 long range, but enabled them to get a second run on the board. Not the worst situation for them to be in. Now, as we head back to CCTV, yeah, Stizzy, he's just an absolute unit when given the right operator and the opportunities to frag, and that's exactly what he did. The concise, the cohesive, the picture perfect execute coming out there from Emergence as they all found their frags, found their positions, and just shut that round out convincingly. 4 versus 1 at the end, and at that stage, there's only a few players in the competition who can actually pull that back and get the win. This time round, unfortunately, Renascence couldn't. They just couldn't do it. They tried, but it wasn't to be. Going into the final round of the half, though, Light, it's CCTV again. Goria almost did it last time. Hopefully, they don't find themselves in that position again.
Yeah, I'm just looking at whether Renaissance is really able to keep that CCTV wall intact. You know, last time we were here, that was opened up well within the first 30 seconds. You know, we saw that mute jammer. Dunny was on that bandit, able to deny that. It didn't exactly work out. So will they be able to try to defend that more? Will we see somebody playing possibly in Pipes, Bar, something like that, just to stop such easy access to, you know, CCTV wall? But another thing is now we're seeing, you know, a shotgun rotate. You mentioned that as well, is that they didn't have anything to really open that wall up, but they do have Smithers with that smoke canister, with that M590, just something to stave away these attackers, able to create rotates. You know, such a high utility operator, and it's good that Renaissance are actually using it.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't really have that hard sight anchor that you would expect on a bomb site like CCTV. They brought a Mozzie for Smithers last time. No shotguns on the board, so they didn't have the options of a rotate. At the moment, though, they're opening things up. They're starting that push off. Drones, Stizzy looking for that information into Lounge, over towards Garage if he can find it. It's all about feeding that information, giving Goria the window he needs to open, or give the opportunity to open up CCTV wall. Not Jim, that was where we were a couple of rounds ago, but it's similar principle. You need to enable that wall being open. From there, you can start to execute on the site. Quinners and Jig and Smithers taking a little bit of damage from those frag grenades coming out of Stizzy, but he takes some damage, returns it fully. Jig, again, the one to go down. You can't be losing him. This is the second time now where Stizzy has been the one to take down Jig on CCTV. Goria follows up with a kill onto Dunny. That's your bandit. No tricking going to be coming out anymore. They lose Stizzy, unfortunately, but by this stage, a lot of the damage has already been done.
Oh yeah, I mean, your bandit's down, your Romai's down. That's a C4 off the board, and now you're down a man. You've got that CCTV wall open, and now you're just looking to struggle, possibly push these off. But you still have got these smoke canisters. You've still got deployable shields, Lucy Banshees, stuff that are definitely key for, but moved, finding the head of Quinner. That deployable shield going down is absolutely massive for these attackers. And now a 2v4, this is looking real rough for Renaissance to win this out. But we did see Goria, you know, possibly almost come back from a 1v4, so it's completely possible with another man. But Nebula getting concussed, getting another one concussed, coming right through. Are they going to be alive for much longer? Looking
They know
real.
exactly where he is. It's a tenuous spot. The swing coming. Oh, the flick to the head. Ben hits the dirt hard. And Nebula could be the defining factor for Renaissance here if he holds on. Him and Smithers could look to clutch this one out. Toxic canister through the drone hole. Smithers trying to secure himself a position to anchor this one up. Goria takes some damage. Move goes down. This is entirely winnable now. Drone coming in, so they know Smithers is there. M590 comes out. Toxic canister down red stairs. Flashes, but Goria with a coordinated push in, and it's all on the shoulders of Nebula. But Goria, his shoulders are bigger. The man is absolutely insane. And Emergence, they bring it back. They get themselves that 3-3 half they so desperately wanted.
Yeah, they were down, but they just did not stop fighting. Able to bring it back 3-3, stopping the usual 4-2 split that would give the defenders that advantage. But they're looking a lot better going into this attacking side. We see that if we're going back to church, which we are, we could see these aggressive play, getting that kitchen hatch open. Dunny, wanting to fill the role of Ben on that Habana. We see them just absolutely lighting up the kill feed, and now they're going to be lighting up those kitchen hatches, wanting to open that up, wanting to get these attacking operators through. And if they're able to really ride the wave that they've somewhat given themselves over these past couple rounds, they should be able to really sweep through. But I think this round can really be key in how we see Emergence can really, how they can, I'm trying to think of the word.
Close
cannot
out,
think of the word.
rend it, just demolish. Here is Renascence. I mean, they're heading onto the attack. The defense was rough. It looked good in a couple of rounds. It looked a bit lackluster in certain rounds. But I mean, there's a couple of interesting things that have already happened. In the first half, Emergence won 5 of 6 opening gunfights. 4 of those were onto Jig, and of those 4, it was Stizzy to kill him. So that's a bit rough. The positioning just not quite there for Renascence on the defense. And I think Jig, there's a possibility he might be a little bit tilted coming into this. We'll see just how it plays out for him, though. Can he bring it back? Can he help Renascence get back on the board, get that round lead going into the first round of the second half? Only time will tell. Light Rose, it's going to be Basement once again to kick it off.
Yeah, Basement, I just mentioned that it's that kitchen hatch, wanting to get that open, wanting to get through dirt, but I don't know if we're seeing kind of dirt from these attackers. We did see that from Emergence, but it just does not seem to be the play. We're seeing, Kitchen, Quinner already in the building. They just want to get over and done with. And, these different style of attacking we can see how teams kind of coordinate. We don't see a dirt push, which we sometimes might see from these attackers, but there is a smoke and play from moves, so that could somewhat deter them.
Yeah, the big thing that I'm looking at, though, Gory at 9-0-4 on the Jaeger, the fragging operator on the defense, but unfortunately, Stizzy the first one to go down, losing out on the Bandit. That's a bit rough. It will mean that they are going to have to try that much harder to hold on, but the impact tricks coming out first. Exothermic is dealt with. Do they get the X-Kairos? I believe Ben did. Impact trick coming out fruitfully, and they're going to be handing it over. Evil Cloud moving in to go for an impact trick of his own. There we go. Follow up. Every single step of the way. They're out of exothermics. They've got 1 Selma left and 1 set of X-Kairos. And look at that. Surprise, surprise. Evil Cloud still has an impact grenade left. It's a battle of the minds. Who's going to win out? Is it going to be Evil? Is it going to be Dunny? X-Kairos go out. Will the impact trick connect? And it does! They can't get Kitchen Hatch. Renascence, they've made a fatal mistake here. They've got to go through either dirt or down main stairs because there are no other avenues available to them. Light, that is a costly mistake to make.
Yeah, that is huge. That could be the round right there, because these situations that you've put yourself in, like you said, mentioned coming from stairs, coming from dirt, those really are not areas you want to be in, because you have to funnel through certain areas. Defenders, they're just absolutely waiting for you. No C4s, so luckily you do have that advantage, but that's about the only one that you give yourself. 45 seconds, so there's still some time that you are really going to... A great angle from Quinner, takes out moved on that rotate, and they want to find another, but they are going to get down, and right now it is a 4v3. Evil Cloud finding that kill, but Evil Clouds are going to go down on Dunny. That could have secured the round right there, but instead we do see Renascence having that man advantage, and this is not how we thought the round would go.
Oh, Goria, he's sitting in church behind the bar, goes for a spray into blue. Damage dealt, he will find the kill onto Nebula. Pushing in aggressively, though. It's going to be Dunny to shut him down. Ben, unfortunately, just cannot do the work needed. Smithers gets the shot, and despite Emergence doing everything they possibly could to stall things out, Renascence, they still get the round lead going into the half, so maybe some minor adaptations need to be made there. Stizzy going down was a bit detrimental. Having that Nitro Cell could have turned things in their favor. But the fact that Kitchen Hatch wasn't opened at all, that's a little bit scary in terms of the prospects here. If you can't get Kitchen Hatch opened, it just makes things so much harder going into basement, securing yourself around. And the fact that they had to rely so heavily on just pure fragging power, that's something that can be dealt with if the defenders read into it.
Yeah, but that is just not what happened. We should have seen Emergence come victorious there. We seen great gunplay from them, Ben, Stizzy, Goria, Clouds, but in the end, that's just it happens sometimes. You win these 1v1 gunfights, these 50-50s, and it sucks because they had that advantage. They outplayed on the kitchen hatch, winning with those impacts, denying that hard breach. And now they are around down. And if Renaissance are able to go up another one, that just widens the gap so much more. You've got to go either back down to church or stay on CCTV. And both sites you lost, and that's just you get inside your own head, and the mind can be one's worst enemy.
Yeah, it really can, and you see the effects from time to time of just how badly tilt can affect you. You throw yourself off, you get yourself in too deep in your own mind, thinking about how things should have gone, and it starts to affect your play going into the next round. We'll see if Emergence, if they got that fortitude to keep themselves in it, stop themselves from overthinking and costing them these plays. We see Stizzy having 6 picked out onto the Valkyrie, so there's no breach denial here on CCTV wall. That could cost them a little bit. We know just how important it is to deny that angle. No bandit tricking this time round, as Ben could be the thing that helps them come back into this. He's on the deep roam down in basement. If he's able to catch a flank here, he could do some serious damage. It looks like Stizzy as well is on the deep roam down. And Goria on the Wehrmite. He's going to have the MP5K. Newly given that 1.5 times scope is really a force to be reckoned with. Exothermic out onto CCTV wall. It's going to be opened wide in the first minute. And it's now about those long-range angles, the crossfires. Can Emergence hold out against this Renascence roster who have looked rather formidable?
That thermite wall is just beckoning to Renaissance. They want to go through, they want to start this execution, but they're being patient. They know that all of the members of Emergence, they're just waiting for this attack. And if Renaissance, they're able to find one pick, we could see a swift execution come through. But Evil Cloud's gonna be flashed, but Jig not gonna be able to capitalize on that so much. They still gotta open up that door. They still gotta wait for somewhat of that pinch coming through, because that is really the key to this attack. Finding the person in garage would allow for most of the members to come through the south side, cover the angles, cover the plan, all of that. But it just really all relies on how they're able to take out Clouds.
Yeah, they're trying to flush him out. They know he's there, breaching around into the soft part of that wall in CCTV to try and give them the angle on the corner. If they can flush him out, if they can deal with him, they can set up the attack to go through rafters and pinch in onto the site. Gives them much more room to work with. That contest onto cash door as well. Winners is going to be swinging. Goria there just still chucking out the magnets. Toxic canister in, denies Jig the entry. So does Move through the smoke even with the SMG-11. They have been locked out of this breach. And it's the one man, the SMG-11 player here, the SAS operator himself, moved on the smoke, doing a lot of the work, single-handedly denying that push into the breach. And this is where the flank comes in. Ben and Stizzy will be making their way back to site, looking for the flanks, looking for their angles, pushing into Move. Smithers takes huge damage. Goria follows up. This is a fatal funnel if I've ever seen one. They see the shield. They're losing player after player. Ben on the flank for the double kill. They're looking at a flawless round. Emergence, the team, this is what we know they can do. And boy, do they do it in style.
Yeah, they just beckoned for that wall to be opened up, waiting for Renaissance to take the bait, and then they just ensnared them, guns absolutely firing, absolutely waiting for them to just make their mistakes and make the mistakes that they did. And Emergence, that is a great way to combat some mistakes coming through, to really doubt the haters, because that was an absolutely strong round. We saw great positioning, great gunplay. The end of the SMG-11 just dealt massive damage to these attackers. Going back to Church and Arsenal, will we see the same thing? Will we see the same mindset come through? That's just strong offensive team with great gunplay. That needs to come through to finish out this map.
Yeah, and strong gunplay is the name of the game, but I mean, I talked about going into the half-light. Jig was 0-4 going into round number 7. He's going into round number 8, 0-5 in opening gunfights. The man just cannot seem to catch a break here. I don't know what it is. Maybe he shouldn't be the one forcing his way through an open breach while a smoke watches the crossfire. Who knows? There's got to be something that changes, though, because you cannot be losing a player this impactful that early on. And it's going to be detrimental to their mindset coming into round number 9. 4-4 as they've evened things up. And there you go. It's down on the screen, as I just said. But I think that's more because of my notes. Anyway, Coming into this round, it's basement. Everything started off going right here for Emergence, and then it went horribly wrong. What changes do you reckon they need to make this time round to stop the same result happening?
I think, they did win that kitchen hatch. I think it's just be more patient. We saw a lot of times Renaissance was just able to get open frags just on sloppy rotates, sloppy just positioning. And that is just something that does not need to happen. Just keep where you are, hold your angles, not absolutely run wild. I think mostly I'm just looking at move because that Goriai or Quinner was able to find move just walking all around the site, and that really allowed Renaissance just to push on forward. And we're seeing these hatches being opened up. That is one thing that Renaissance they really struggled to do. They're able to open up this hatch here, open up into church, but they still have a wait to really execute onto the site.
They're setting themselves up for that initial push. Again, no breach denial coming out here from Emergence. What is coming out is a couple of barricades, just trying to get in the way. One in a oil pit. They're looking to start things off on the kitchen hatch. We know how this went for them last time. Waiting in the wings. They've lost all their exothermics, so I imagine that is going to be weighing on them once again. They just have, this has been the absolute bane of Renascence in this round, in this half, and overall. And Jig is going to be trying to open things up. Exothermic goes out, sees the ankle, but the impact trick still connects. Oh, this has got to be weighing on them. Second set going out with the impact trick connect again, and it's looking good. I think they may have denied it there. I'm not quite sure, but they're setting themselves up for the win. Yeah, look at that. Just again, impact trick after impact trick, denying the hatch, but Nebula, he's going to find a kill onto Ben. Has used all his impact tricks at this stage, so not the biggest of losses. Now, though, they're really struggling. They've got the hatch open finally. Renascence, they need to transfer that into some pressure onto the bomb site itself, and Smithers is going to be kicking that off. Now, with a minute left on the clock, they've got to do something.
Yeah, open up that kitchen hatch. That is one thing that's good, but you need to actually execute. You need to actually, put forth your promise of I am in control of this round, and these drones delaying all the information to these attackers. But are they going to be able to capitalize on it? We're seeing these angles being held by these defenders. That Legion just able to get those goo mines over time, put them out, and you're able to hear, not exactly, but a general position of where these attackers are coming from. 30 seconds left. Their Renaissance still have the flawless HP as Jig and Nebula takes them, but Jig still going to take out Evil Clouds as Daddy Stizzy is able to refrag onto Jig, and the drop is, you're going to definitely want to regret that, as Stizzy is going to be taken out of 2v2, 15 seconds left as it's just Dunny.
Dunny on his own, impact onto the wall, has moved, sees him, goes for the shot to the T5, but Goria is there to mop it up, and a much better round coming out of Emergence. Stizzy single-handedly cutting down two players, one from dirt, one on the hatch drop. Huge investment there from him with that older 5.56. Without him, it could have been a detrimental and vastly different round, but it is going to be Emergence. One round away from map point here, coming into round number 10. And that was rough. That was an absolute slugfest. Coming into the meatworks, they just funneled through the grinder. And unfortunately for them, Goria was still alive and said no. And this pick here from Jig, if it's not sixth, I think this speaks to just how concerned they are. It is going to be the sixth pick, but is it going to be back onto the Monty? Are they going to stay? No, it's going to be a sledge this time. Jig, he's gone down in a number of gunfights. His kills, they're just lacking a little bit here in this map. And I don't think it's for a lack of trying. I think it's largely on the fact that Emergence are just reading this attack so well.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, we've seen a lot of these members come alive. I mean, Goria, a 14-5, that is just absolutely wonderful. Looking at all the members combined, even, they're just doing absolutely great as a team. Like I said, they're starting to come alive with these gunfights. They're winning somewhat of those 50-50s, utilizing positioning, their utility, and that is what starts winning you rounds. And Emergence, they are on that 2-round streak. And going to Gym Bedroom, it doesn't look to be any different. They have the typical operator lineup. You usually bring somewhat of a castle. You can possibly utilize a smoke, a mute, or a bandit to stop that hot tub wall, but it's really up to the team's choice. But how will they try to deny this hot tub wall? How they will... Usually we would see something like a Valkyrie on this site, possibly able to throw these black eyes, get info like Renaissance did, but nothing of the sort happening this time around, instead opting for the usual operator lineup that you see in front of you.
And we're going for the big read here out of Emergence. They've got the 2 castle barricades in Gym. They've got an ADS just outside of Gym. A deployable shield by the drone hole, and then the bandit batteries. The amount of utility that we have to see Renascence burn before they can actually start to open that jacuzzi wall, it's a nightmare. In fact, there's 2 ADSs, so any nades going in, they're really going to struggle. This is a round that Twitch well and truly could have shined. Unfortunately for them, the read was not there. 5-4, Goria leading the charge. I mean, if the man's not fragging, he's probably asleep. He's just so heavily involved in Rainbow Six Siege. He's such a phenomenal player. And as we go into the first minute completion, we are heading to Gym Bedroom. Number 3, Boomy Room coming in as they are starting that opening. Dealing with the castle barricade, shooting into the shield, and Quitter's just deadpan straight into a deployable shield. Not happy with it, going to be heading to the roof, and already this assault is being slowed.
Yeah, it's just that utility drain meta. We do see one more impact that is being used by Quinner to take out that deployable shield. So now no impact's gone. We're seeing Evo Clouds possibly wanting to deny anything that impact going out, and it is not going to work. And that jacuzzi wall going to be opened up. But now Renaissance, they have to find at least one to be confident in their attack. Default going to be destroyed by Nebula. They know that players know exactly where they are, but no shots are going to hit. Only time will tell how much Nebula can have an impact on this round.
I mean, already, Emergence have done a great job of stalling things out. They've taken so long. Jig will find the opener onto Stizzy, but Ben returns. One with the UMP 45. Jig finally getting a positive in the win column in opening trades. He finds it onto Stizzy. That smoke, who would have been key in stalling things out here. Maybe that overcommitment of ADSs outside the gym doorway has cost them a little bit here. They've locked out Logi as well, but Renascence, they're still hesitant to push in. They've lost the ace. They can't quite force it. That shots into the dead body by Quitters. Good props to him. But unfortunately, Goria standing in the corner is spotted out and dealt with. 4 versus 3 with 27 seconds left. Nebula is going to be on the plant in Gym. Move below. Nitro cell tossed, but unfortunately cannot find the player. Smithers as well. Guns down another. Evil Clouds, though, on a huge flank here. If he could shut things down, deny the plant. Or no! Or he almost makes a fatal mistake. They're going for the impact play. They know where he is now. Shots not connecting. And Jig, he opens the round. He shuts it down. And a big save there coming out on the boys in Renascence.
I can see why brought out the impact, but in the end, it's definitely somewhat of a mistake there. I don't know if they knew that they were all alone in that fight, but I think a great job getting that hot tub wall open, able to really take control of site. Once that smoke was dead, Renaissance were able to just really charge through. Quinner, Ben had absolutely no idea. The Jaeger, had no idea that Quinner was in sight. And that is just to the utility that they are just able to push on through, be very, very quick once they have all the pieces in place. And that can be why they can somewhat win this, as both teams are on match point, and we could go into overtime. It's definitely possible the way that both of these teams have played.
Yeah, it's been neck and neck up until this point. I think the most rounds strung together at any one time has been 2 from each team. Oh, no, 3, sorry. Renaissance did get 3 in the opening round. But otherwise, yeah, it has been reasonably close the last few. Coming into this, Gym Bedroom was an unfortunate result at the end of the day. Not quite how they expected it to go. The setup just it undercut a little bit of what they were doing. Stizzy got caught out by that nade early, and losing the smoke as a starter is just not a situation you want to be in. Now, though, we're going to be heading back to CCTV. The last time we saw it, it was that flawless round win headed up by Move, playing top red stairs. This time around, can they do the same thing? He's there. They've got the black eye cams for that information game as well. This could be a pivotal round. Whoever achieves map point first has the potential to toss it over the edge, get themselves that map win, which everyone is looking for. 3 points. They don't want it to go to OT, because then you're handing a point over to your opposing team, and it's all about the leaderboard at the end of the day.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Yeah, wanting to get this wall open is absolutely key. And like before, Emergence are just letting them have it. But that really was the downfall there, as Stizzy's able to get that opener onto Quinner. And that could be exactly like we saw the last time we were here, right over there in Pipes. And Renaissance, they have access to the site. They're trying to take out Clouds, which really was their bane. You know, they weren't able to finally get that pinch. And with Stizzy helping Clouds, that is really going to be a struggle, as you don't have that Zofia. There's no impacts, no concussions. So clearing those ADSs and really putting Clouds in a position to back off is just, it's going to be very hard.
Stizzy aggressively contesting here from Secret Stairs, finds himself a double in the round, takes out the two entry players. Smithers and Quinn is gone, two players that were impactful the last time they got onto this bomb site. And now, coming into this, they have two men down with over half the round left to play. What can Jig, Nebula, and Dunny do? They've only got two drones left between the three of them. So someone is going to be at any one time is going to have to be providing information while the rest of them look for frags. They still have not found a way to get rid of that player at top red. And look at this, just five members, five fully stacked members, healthy as anything. Unfortunately, I say that in Jinx Cloud. Stizzy in a gunfight will lose out to Dunny. Finds two, gets control of Garage here. So they have potential for a crossfire, the biggest deficit. Oh no! Down an oil pit, he guns down Ben, and all of a sudden, man advantage. Back with Renaissance. And Dunny, he's going to push up into Rafters, deals with that Banshee. And positional control is theirs. Moved, going to be a key player in how they shut this one down. Toxic Canister goes in. Nebula going to take some damage. Goria back on the swing. He's still alive as well. Moved. SMG-11 takes the head off of Nebula. Toxic Canister throwing deep. There's 30 seconds left to play. And it's Goria in move. Dunny, he's out. Toxic Canister lands. And it's SAS on SAS. Crouching in and moved. He finds Jig. Unfortunately for Renaissance, it will be a lost gunfight. Crouching around the angle. Just loses out, and my lord light, what a way to move us into round number 12. Emergence, dominant coming into the late stages of Clubhouse.
My heart was just up, down, up, down. You had no clue where that round was going to come through. You know, we saw Dunny with that 3K, then move, just absolutely clutching it out with the smoke canister, with the SMG-11. Just some great individual plays on both sides. But now it's all got to come together. Going down to basement, Emergence has match point. You know for sure that they do not want to go into overtime, leave it all up to chance again. But basement, they've struggled a little bit. They did win on Church. They lost it against Renaissance in the 7th round. So we're 1-1 here. This can go 100% both ways. But will that kitchen hatch be opened up? That is the thought on everybody's mind. We saw it absolutely not work out in the 7th round, but they were able to get it open and lose the round. You know, it's weird. It's really weird. They didn't get the kitchen hatch open, and they won the round. They got it open. They lost the round. It's a little weird.
Sometimes that is just the way it goes. But the big thing I'm looking at, Stizzy, gonna be picking up the vigil here. We know how much Emergence like their roam. In Renaissance, they've made this fatal mistake a couple of rounds now where they just have not cleared up floors. We saw the last time they went for this. Ben and Stizzy came in for the pinch, found some big frags, and definitely shut down this attack push. Once again, no breach denial. So they're not going to be opting for that hard defense onto Dirt Tunnel. Evil Cloud is going to be the one picking up that role on the smoke, as you would expect. But 6 impacts online. Stizzy has used one for a rotate, and they've got 4 more to go for that impact trick onto Kitchen Hatch. They've been rather successful at burning through that breach utility coming out of Renaissance, and that must be a source of frustration coming into this already. They're getting in, they're getting control, trying to deny players from below, but that's not the issue. The issue is the players from above. Exothermic out onto the stock hatch, so they get that one for free, but that's utility that's used that could be used elsewhere.
Yeah, there's no Habana being brought. Instead, you've got a little bit more of that soft reach on Jig. So if they are going to try to go for this kitchen hatch, you're just going to struggle so much more because Dunny's got those 2 Selmas, and Emergence just has 4 impacts. You're able to deny all of the hard breach. If used correctly, you could throw away an impact and still be able to deny this hard breach. So I don't know if kitchen hatch is really the way that Renaissance wants to go. We did see that stock hatch being opened, but Dunny able to take out Stizzy, and that's a lot of roam off the board. That's a lot of pressure being taken off the backs of Renaissance.
Yeah, unfortunately, just maybe overcommitting to that roam. And look at that Evil Cloud. He's getting a bit aggressive on the breach at the end of Dirt Tunnel. can probably afford to do that, but now, look, you've got no extra thermics left. They've opened up bar and stock. Kitchen is the next play. There are only 2 Selmas left available. 1 impact trick, you're not getting it open. Moved, gonna take some damage here, forced off the angle. And Nebula, he's got to go for it here. He's got to find the shots that he needs. Spray through the floor, still not connecting. In fact, damage back done. Dunny taking some big damage down, lower than 50. His impacts did come out, but the denial was not there. First, yeah, there we go. That's 1 Selma left. They've used it. They cannot get this kitchen hatch anymore, but they're still looking for the vertical angles. A minute left on the clock. They're not going to find too much. They've got to sack that broom. They've got to go elsewhere. And Jig, he's watching angles. Smithers already pushing down main stairs. We've seen Smithers here before. Can look to force something as they are just going to use those breaching rounds, clear out some of that denial coming from Emergence. But back against the wall, they've got to force something. Will it be Moto Hatch? Could they be locked out here by the smoke? It's really the question. And Dunny, he's going to be the one to force things. Takes out Ben, the Malusi now off the board, just running in. Is going to use that last Selma to open up the angle of the church. Sees one, goes for the shots, can't connect. And it's Goria, the standout wild card here to gun him down. Bring it back to a 3 versus 4. Entirely winnable situation here for Emergence, especially given the fraggers they have left. Unfortunately, moved gone. It's Jig from Blue Stairs. A nice rotate in. Quinners, can he see anything? Any information? Could turn this round on its head. Plant coming down. The defenders have to go huge. Evil Cloud's gone. Jig is going to find that, and unfortunately finds Goria for a triple in the round, and we are going to see overtime. Light Rose, we've gone the distance. 6-6 at the moment. Everyone is getting points off of this first map, but jeepers, 6-6. I didn't quite expect it to make the distance.
Yeah, you know, Renaissance, they had such an aggressive start. You know, they eased back a little bit. That allowed Emergence to come forward, and then they just duked it out, winning round after round after round, switching back and forth. And now we're coming to the final 3 rounds, possibly 2 rounds. You know, we could see one team just able to get on a really good streak here. Going to CCTV, that's a site that's gone both ways. Like Basement, all of these sites have just, you never really know who's going to take control, because a lot of times they've just gone 50-50. It's a few key mistakes, a few key players that have really made the rounds for these teams.
Yeah, I mean, going into overtime, it's infinite overtime as well, so there is potential for a number of rounds to be played out here. Given how things have been traded back and forth, I mean, I believe the other day we had, I think it was 17 rounds total or something bizarre like that. It really went for it. No, not quite 17. I think it might have been 18. It was 19. There we go. Just had confirmation from production. 19 rounds in total to close it out. So that is so far the longest play day, or play map, I suppose, we've had so far. We'll see if it goes that distance. You've got to hope that Emergence or even Renaissance could shut it out here. Dunny and Goria both on 15 frags. 18. So, sorry, 18. Not quite 19. 18. So there's potential. We're 2/3 of the way there. Like, we could see another 18 rounder come out.
Hey, I mean, and we've still got another map to play, which also could go a number of rounds into overtime. So we just might be here for a while, depending on how really this plays out, how Renaissance want to attack this. And once again, Emergence just letting them have this wall. But, you know, Renaissance, they're being a little bit more cautious with their droning, wanting to make sure before they really open up this wall, and that's exactly what Nebula's going to do, wasting no time and getting that wall open. About 2 minutes left, and Evil Clouds taking out Smithers, and that's not an opening pick that you want to lose.
Yeah, it is if you're an Emergence fan. Taking out Smithers, that ace, that little utility. A lot of destruction off the board already, and Goria follows up with one of his own MP5 chiming and taking down Dunny, the lead fragger here for Renaissance, and in fact taking that first place spot on the kill leaderboard. Drones coming in, they're going to spot out the Malusi sitting in rafters. Nebula has eyes on that shield. Moved, surprisingly not living up to his name every time we've seen CCTV come out. And Goria swings onto Nebula in the breach. Jig is well being deterred here. There's 2 players left in the first round of overtime. And we're staring at another flawless coming out here from Emergence. If they can do it, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Quinners really just hasn't been finding the frags. Jig, yes, has stepped up after that first half. But when you're staring down the barrel of 4 very healthy and 1 rather unhealthy members of Emergence, it's a terrifying prospect at the best of times.
And going through stock, and there we go. We just see Jig just boop on into the basement as we do see a roamer on into bar. I believe that Stizzy Quinner is going to fire in, and they're just going to have to back off. This avid man count is really allowing Emergence to be a little more flexible with the roam. We play a little bit off more site, wanting to find these unconventional places, unconventional plays. As Jig is going to try to find a little sneaky frag, and it's going to do absolutely nothing. Evil Clouds just knows that Jig is somewhere near that position, as Quinner is really poised to take Evil Clouds off of these rafters. The key is, will they succeed? A firefight both ways, but Evil Clouds getting that HP advantage. There's still just a 1v1 standoff. Right now, Evil Clouds are shifting where trying to find the best position to win this out as Quinner slowly steps up the garage stairs, and they are going to lose that after pre-firing that, and the Goria finding Quinner, helping out Evil Clouds as it's just Jig on low HP, no frags, and they've only got that L85 and 4 members of Emergence left.
Look, I don't even think it was Goria thinking about helping his team. I'm pretty sure he just did it for the frags. Evil Clouds will step up. Jig takes him down. That's 2 in the round for him, but SAS on SAS violence is a frequent occurrence here in Rainbow Six Siege. Moved down red stairs with the SMG-11, shuts it down. And Emergence off the back of Goria going absolutely wild once again secures them the first round of overtime. They're now heading to the attack, which, I mean, it went 3-3 at the end of the day, so there is entirely a possibility that they get themselves another round here. But there's still at least... Well, actually, this could be the final round. I won't lie. This could be the final round of OT, but it's really going to be down on Renascence if they can bring it back.
Yeah, will we see Smithers somewhat playing in dirt as we're going down to base? We're just seeing Dunny on the Valkyrie. I do like to see that, possibly these unconventional black eye cams could get somewhat of a cheeky spawn peak. We did see a failed spawn peak coming out from, I believe that was Stizzy earlier, absolutely destroyed. But, we could see the black eyes being thrown onto Kitchen, wanting to make sure that they know when these hard breaches are coming through, wanting to, use these C4s, which haven't really had a place much in today's map, but possibly will we see Dunny make an impact? They've got that 15 they want to contest. Goria's 18. That's a number that you want to chase after, and I know Dunny is definitely hungry for some more kills.
Well, I know Gory is going to be hunting for his 20 bomb. This potentially could be the first in SCS. I don't think it is, given that we had a match go 18 rounds the other day. But it's definitely one of the first, as they're setting themselves up some late reinforcements coming out. Goria just leading the charge here, stalwart in his defense, aggressive on his attack. He cannot be stopped. He's only died 7 times so far coming into round number 4's. The KD is just phenomenal for him, and I mean it's rather disconcerting. It's not disconcerting. It's not necessarily reflective of how the match is going. He's leading the charge with that many kills, and it seems like the rest of the team hasn't been stepping up. And no, that's not the case at all. It's literally because Goria has just been fragging every opportunity he gets, stealing them away at times from his teammates. And yeah, the stats are going to be looking very, very good for him coming out of this Playday.
I mean, if they're there, just take them, and Goria has definitely done that, as even though Ben takes some damage, they are going to win that fight against Dunny. C4 just not working out, and now you have a man down, and when you're already down a round in overtime, you're still losing that opening fight, and another one could absolutely be the snowball on pushing through. But Smithers in dirt wants to delay this attack. He's got those ADSs to defend from any flashes that come through. There's no frag grenades, so they are safe from that, but still, this could be the fatal flaw if Smithers goes down here.
Yeah, I mean, the straw that broke the camel's back, the snowflake that starts the avalanche, definitely be a good way to start it off. Losing out on Dunny. Smithers taking some big damage in dirt, is going to have to try and contest with that M590. But Emergence, it looks like they've made the smart play. They said, you know what, we're not going to try and contest that. We know there's a smoke there. We have the advantage going into this bomb site. If we do our due diligence, clear things out, deal with the roamers and start that top-down push, we can 100% go for it to execute on our terms. but the biggest disadvantage they have is that 6 defender time is not working for them here. Multiple hard breaches as they look to try and get this open. The impact trick has been good from Nebula. Jig there with his last pin taken even lower, but look at that. There's still an X-Cairo, there's still Salmas, there's still exothermic charges available to them. Repositioning, they're looking for the kill on the player into Derp, but Smithers holding prone with the M590. Jugapi coming out. Will he land the shots? He does. He gets Evil Clouds down, brings things back even, but Ben's found Jig off the back side of it, so quick frags going both ways. Emergence still coming up on top here at the moment. Gory is down main stairs. He's looking for that push into the bomb site. Are they going to be able to execute with any time left? Drones in, Stizzy providing that information. They know where the Jaeger of Quinners is. Going into motor, Goria is on the hunt here. They see the Jaeger, he steps out, move, does some damage. It's Quinners actually. No, sorry, Stizzy from above to find the kill, drop down into the hatch. Banshee is going to be going off, slowing him down. But in a 2v4 with 13 seconds left, all it's going to take is to deny the defuse. Unfortunately, Nebula is not going to be a part of it. Smithers, the last player, the last chance here for Renaissance in a 1v4. Unfortunately, all he's got is the M590 and the SMG11, and the wide swing from Stizzy means that Emergence will take round number 14 and the map. What a show!
I was expecting that to really go the yard. I'm surprised that Emergence absolutely came through, won those last 2 rounds, but really good for them, just pushing on through and winning that really quickly and going on to the next map. They're looking a lot stronger.
Look, I'm gonna say it. I'm disappointed and moved. He stole those keys that were rightfully Goria's. And Salco, welcome back.
Hello.
To steal your term, what a barn burner.
Oh my lord, hey, somebody actually likes it. Oh my, I thought I was the only one, but hey, it was a good map to watch. I'm glad it went to overtime. I think it was a really good, pep in your step kind of occurrence to go into overtime like that, which is exactly, I think, what Emergence might have needed to get over that hump and actually take the win there. But Renascence really put up a strong fight. So going into map number 2 on Oregon, I am very excited to see what these two teams have to give on that one. I know that Emergence is strong on that map, but at the same time, in the close qualifiers, they did drop quite a few rounds against their opponent. So I'm potentially thinking that if Renascence is going to win a map, this is going to be the one to do it on. But with that being said, do you guys have anything else to add real quick? I've got one more thing after that, if you guys do or don't.
Look, as much as I want to sit here and break down what we just saw, we have people for that, the analysts, the lovely analysts who have been breaking all of this down behind the scenes. So Salco, we won't keep you any longer. Bring them in, let them do their job, because I'm interested to see what they have to say.
I've got one more comment, my friends, real quick. Before we hop over to
Too quick, Panda.
Oh, you're good. But you guys will not be seeing my beautiful face on stream anymore. I'm actually going to be going behind the scenes, and I'm going to be taking over observation for map number 2. So
multi-talented man.
So yeah, we're going to hop over and do that. So I want to let you guys know that I do have to get set up. So the break for all of you viewers out there might be just a little bit longer while we get everything sort of ironed out and make sure everything is still that top tier production that you've come to expect. So you get to talk to our analysts and everybody just a little bit longer while we do that. But I wanted to say my farewells to you guys, and I'll see you in the actual game itself this time.
Yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
Yeah, coming off to us, we're going to have to go ahead and pretty much take this one since our desk host does have to switch that observer. Just some slight issues behind scene, real life problems come up. That's just life. This was a really good game. I mean, we got to go to OT, and there was a lot of really good rounds. And one of the rounds we want to talk about is that first round, round number 1. And I'm going to let my man Madman here go ahead and just describe what he felt like he saw there.
Okay, so on round number 1, when the Habana wanted to open up the hatch, I feel like she accidentally hot breached it, even though it wasn't intentional. It did work out in their favor, getting them that control, and it got them that kill onto dummy box, and just played out on everything else.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Regardless if it was accidental or on purpose, no one expects that, right? That's such an unexpected thing. You can see the Malusi fell back because she knew the hatch was going to get open, and no one's really expecting just that immediate drop. And you see him, I believe he gets the kill onto Smithers, who's just sitting behind one of the boxes in the back of Armory, and it's pretty much a freebie, and it just comes down to what looked like flank denial. Emergence was given dirt for free, And they were so quick because they just took linear control and they really wasted no time. And you'll see on screen Ben with the drop, and you're going to see him find the pick onto the Mozzie, which is just such a good round from them. And that's really kind of what it felt like. We saw it on both sides between Renascence and Emergence, a very linear push for this downstairs bomb site, even though there was indeed roamers playing on that second floor or main stairs, and it kind of came down to winning ones and stopping flanks. The next round I want to talk about personally is, I believe we're going to go to round 10 after this one, and it was gym bedroom, and you're seeing it on screen right here. The big thing I want to talk about here is they get that wall open with a decent amount of time, and then the early nade kill that you're going to see come up onto this smoke was absolutely crucial. It got rid of the bathroom player. All three of those smoke canisters, I believe, were still in pocket when Steezy dies, and you end up seeing the Zofia of Quinter take over that bathroom hold, and it literally tears the whole round apart for Emergence. He ends up getting the pick onto Quinter, playing Bed and the Jaeger, and just a beautifully well played round.
Yeah, no, the way that they played that was beautiful. Their utility was amazing, and just the picks, everything went in their favor. So I don't really have anything else to say about that round, but I do want to talk about round 11, I believe. If we're gonna, unless we're too ahead of schedule for that. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. The way that the utility was played around, it was just fantastic from what I can see.
Yeah, I mean, I think something I touched up on in the first game that I casted when we knew we were going to Clubhouse once again was this map is really a checklist map. And that's really what it felt like. They had the castle, they had the ADSs, they cleared the castle, made sure they got that wall open without wasting their exothermic charges for no reason, which I believe they still got one of them. But there was no swings from CCTV, and they were just able to open up that wall and start doing the checklist. We got wall open from Jacuzzi. What's next? Bathroom player, native bathroom player. What's next? Drone economy. They droned it out, saw bathroom was free, and they just continued to press the checklist. And this has just always been known that if you can play a checklist match and win your ones and clear the power positions, you're going to win the round. We're seeing here the wall is open with a minute left, and there's been no picks at this point. And then I'm not sure where Jig gets the nade from, but you're going to see in just a second that poor Smoke is not going to ever leave that bathroom shower stall. He is going to die in there, and that's just life. But they are able to get the refrag. And Dunny on support was absolutely insane this game. I just want to throw it over to him real quick. Him and Goria were battling for that top kills. I believe coming towards the end, Dunny had, I have it pulled up here, Goria had 18 and Dunny had 15. Dunny was gunning for that top frag spot.
Yeah, Dunny overall this match, I believe he went 15 and 13, and then in the first half, Jig, he was pretty slow in the beginning, but then he came alive on the attacking half, going, I believe, 10 or 11 and 9 or 10?
11 and 10.
11 and 10, yes, there it is. But in this round, he gets, I believe, the 3K or the... yes, he got the 3K on this round just to win it.
Yeah, I mean, it was something we were kind of bad talking him behind the scenes in a sort of way, because before he woke up, he was 5 of the opening deaths. I think going into 9 or 10 rounds, he was for a while half of the opening deaths, and it really seemed like it was hurting. And once Jig started to come online, you saw the team come online, and now we're going to see round number 11 here. This was just an unfortunate round for the side of Renascence, as they just gave up so many early picks. They got that wall open so fast. They get it open before we even clips 2 minutes. And then Ash is going to die outside of garage door. And I believe Nebula, their thermite, is going to die right on the wall. Oh, excuse me, it was Zoe that died. Oh no, this was the 2 secret. Yep. So Ash and Zoe are going to die in secret to that Valkyrie, and it just completely ruined the round. There's nothing that they could really come back from, and it just seemed like the coordination was lost once they lost those two early opening frags.
Yeah, when the Zofia died, you can tell that they just kind of lost motivation, mainly because the Ashe peaked again, and Zofia still had, I believe, 90% of utility still in her pocket and 2 drones. So losing all of that, it's just gonna just demotivate you a little bit more, especially when your Ashe dies as well to that same peak.
Yeah, finishing off the round, it was a great attempt. Dunny trying to bring the heroics. He ends up getting a 3K and the only one to actually get kills in this round. But Moved gives a 3K of his own and is just able to bring the round back. Just beautiful plays left and right. And that's something we've seen from both of these teams all game long, especially from Goria. And towards the end, Jig and Dunny is just this consistency to get these 3Ks. But that was round number 1, or map number 1, excuse me. Going to go to the favor of Emergence. They are only going to take 2 points, so 1 point is going to be granted towards Renascence, so they're not going to be bottom of the leaderboard because Synthetic did not manage to get any points, unfortunately. But we are going to give it back to our casters. It was a pleasure talking to you, and we will see you guys after game number 2.
Sorry, I have a button on my microphone that I keep forgetting about, even though it flashes at me. But yeah, okay, we're coming back into this. Like, let's take a bit of time. The analysts have done a great job of breaking down some of those key plays, but there was just so much going on that I didn't even think they caught all of it. There was so much time spent writing down stats. They've got a huge amount of responsibility behind the scenes, and most of that is based around the strategy side of things. We got to catch all of it. We got to see exactly what was going on. And look, I just, as much as I've talked about Goria already, the man is just in the right place at the right time, and he's able to capitalize on every single situation he finds himself on. Multiple triple kills, double kills. I think he was 1 kill away. He almost got that quad in one of those rounds down on basement. So, I mean, okay, you're going into Oregon. We talked about Clubhouse. Clubhouse is that map that everyone should know. There's no real deviation from standard strategies. There's little alterations, but nothing, wild and out there that you're going to see. Oregon, it's still a fairly new beast. There's some leeway, there's some room, you can change things up, chop things up, and like that was said earlier, they almost lost this map in the qualifiers to be denied a spot. Renaissance could actually take this one away from them. What do they need to do to make that happen, though?
I think really is just shut down Goria. I mean, Goria right now is just, like you mentioned, on an absolute tear. And while Emergence teamwork, it is there a lot of rounds. We've just seen Goria rack up all these multi-kills, and that is really putting a damper on anything that really Renaissance can do. They just don't have the man count to compete with any push that Emergence does. And another thing is, I think Jig needs to come alive a little bit earlier in the map. We saw Jig, they went down 5 times in the opening death in the first 8 rounds, and that's just an absolute struggle. I mean, we did see
he got one opening gunfight, so it wasn't a complete shutout. He got one.
Okay,
he got one.
Okay. You're right, but I mean that's still 1 to 5. That's not a good ratio that you want to have. And even as we're looking on here, we do see Jig going down right in front of you, and it's possible Oregon. It helps a lot of operators that Jig plays. We do see that Wamai, he is super integral. We might see him banned out on Oregon because he's such an integral operator. But, Jig could be playing on these different operators. But I just really like to see them because I know they have it in them to, bring out these kills. We saw them in certain situations just bring out that gunfire, just able to click these heads, find these opposing teams. And it just needs to happen a little sooner and, a little bit better communicated with the team. Just please don't go down so much.
Yeah, I mean, as good as Dunny has been as well for Renaissance, it's a team game. You've got 5 members on every single team. They need to be helping. They need to be contributing. And as great as some of those plays were from Dunny, running into Garage, finding that massive 3K, and then pushing onto the site and just still not being able to do it, the rest of the team is stuff. Yeah, Jig has taken a little bit while to warm up, but I think at this stage, he's had enough time. He's found enough frags. He's starting to find that momentum. But Smithers, he's lacking a little bit behind in my eyes, at least. Same with Quinners. These two players who are assigned that entry fragging role, playing the Ashe and those Zofia, they should be racking up the kills, like you see Goria doing. That's why they're there. Entry fragging. You go in, you do as much damage as possible before you are eventually taken out or the round ends. So I think, yeah, maybe there just needs to be something said in the break. You chat to the guys, say, look, we need to reset ourselves. New map, new us. Take it as verbatim that this is the only map we've got going on, and ignore the last one. Because yes, it was close. Yes, it went to overtime, but losing out both attack and defense on overtime, again, it's something that weighs on you. And before we head into Oregon, it's a map that has a lot of opportunities. Operator bans are the thing that I want to talk about. Coming into this, we saw Thatcher Maverick. Chances are we're going to see them again, but I mean, is there some room to move? Are they going to need to allow something through that could enable that win, especially given that Emergence are starting on the defense? Where do Renascence need to prioritize their focus? Is it ban out Goria or just ban out the standard stuff?
I think you just have to keep on the standard stuff. I don't think, target banning Goria really would work out because Goria, I think, could work on with any operator. I mean, the Frost's SMG, the Smoke's SMG, anything like that, you're still just able to find heads because that's what Goria needs. All you need is just one bullet. That's why pistols can be helpful in this game. And Goria, seeing them already, sometimes they weren't on, some of that typical operator, but they were still able to just absolutely clean house. So keeping on those standard operators, try not to win them purely based on gunfights and win them on strats, because that is what really counters gunfights. You're able to ease yourself into out-positioning your opponent, winning those gunfights based on your own skill, not mechanical skill, your team skill, coordination, stuff like that. So I think banning out, typical, possibly Thatcher. I don't know if we'll see a Maverick ban, because attacking on Attic, you almost need a Maverick. That is almost the integral operator that is attacking on Attic, and possibly something on basement. Not as much, but I don't know what we'll see for the attacking ban. Like you mentioned way back before this map, the Capito ban, we could see something like that because he's, especially good in a site like Blue Bunker.
Yeah, I mean, but going into this, you've got to remember, Emergence starting off in the defense, huge advantage. You come into it, you're looking for that 4-2 split, so you can just sort of coast over the line in the second half. Oregon, it's as much as I say Clubhouse isn't strat heavy, it is, but it's strats that are sort of known globally. There's nothing out of the ordinary. So it kind of plays like Coastline, where the decider is less the strategy side of things and more the attacking side of things, how you find those frags, that sort of thing. Oregon, very strat heavy. You need to set yourself up for victory. And I think maybe, yeah, we could see Maverick let through. Renascence, they start on the attack. They want to give themselves as much room to work as possible. And Maverick probably is going to be that operator. Yeah, you can still go into stage, destroy the battery or mute jammer or whatever you've got denying the breach from below. But that's a risky play. And we've seen how some of those risky plays have not paid off for them, because Emergence, they absolutely love their own game. We've seen it time and time again. Stizzy and Goria will play from below or above, wherever they can get away and start to impact from the other side of the map. They're going to be looking for it. So Oregon, it could be potentially a little bit scary. I'm interested to see what they're going to be bringing. But I mean, as much as, Goria, it's all about him. Moved as well. This anchor slash hard support player for Emergence. He plays Thermite, he plays the breach role, he plays smoke and a lot of the anchor positions on the defense. We saw him single-handedly shut down a push onto CCTV. That's not a situation you often see. He denied the breach, he denied the push, he found it killed through a smoke onto the head with the SMG-11. That's a standout play in my mind. He's another player that they have to worry about. So there's so many things that go wrong. We saw Jig hovering the Monty at one point, was 6 picked off for something else, but could Monty be the play here?
Monty, Shields in general, they're just in a really precarious position. These guard break changes, they did go live, and with explosives being so heavy, we saw impacts being brought so much, C4s being brought so much, and, Clash able to guard break, that just puts these shield operators in such a bad position. You're really able to do nothing. You're not able to turn, you're not able to put the shield down, and that just allows the defenders to walk all over you, just kill you, and you really aren't able to do your job. So I think while Monty still is able to somewhat do his job, what I've seen is Yana. Yana is just you know, you're able to put yourself in that position, draw some fire, and she right now kind of does Monty's job a little bit better simply because you run absolutely no risk. Well, a little bit of risk because they can find where you are, but almost no risk when you deploy that Gemini and just find out where everybody is. That replicates. You've got your own drones, and it's why not pick her over Monty, who is just getting nerf after nerf after nerf.
I mean, yeah, ideal situation. You play Monty and Iana the same way. You want someone on the back shoulder, whether it's the shield or the Gemini replicator. You send it in, you get that information, you feed it to the player who's following behind. They swing, they find a frag, done and dusted. Monty, similar, you have someone sitting behind the shield who can swing out in either of those angles. But yeah, like you said, just the inherent danger, and some of those changes have made it very, very hard. Shield main nowadays, though, that the Iana has seen that rise in prevalence. The nades as well is never a bad thing to be taken away. The combination of guns, ARX or the G36, they're both powerful weapons. But the thing that we really haven't seen a huge priority on from either team is flank watch. We're not seeing a Nomad coming out. We haven't seen Jackal, Gridlock, all of which were let through in terms of picks. And on a map like Oregon, where the flanks are that much more impactful, I mean, yes, they're impactful on Clubhouse, but Oregon, there's so much roam capability. You've got 3 different avenues up from the basement. You can drop hatches if you want. Surely we have to see some prioritization around.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more possible. We saw on Clubhouse, there were a couple times where we saw, I mean, some flanks. We saw Nebula on the Belusi. That happened a couple times. But overall, flanks didn't have too much of an impact. So that could put either team really in a sense of complacency. That could say, oh, that roam game really wasn't special on Clubhouse. Let's just go with our starting 5, offering something that excludes the Nomad, excludes the Jackal, something like that. But I think on Oregon, it is a lot more important, and how big these teams are, how much they've practiced. We could see something like the Nomad, especially brought out, and she could somewhat be a ban come out. It's possible. It's on the table. Nomad is one of these operators that can sometimes get spanned regularly, especially on flank-heavy maps like Coastline, like Oregon, something like that. So I think it's all up to how these teams want to attack. Because if they're quick enough, if their execution, sometimes you see big window on the kids, you might not need a Nomad on something like that. So it's really how these attackers want to play it, and how these defenders really are with their roam game, with like a Vigil, a Jaeger, something like that.
Yeah, no, we'll take a bit of a step away from the serious side of things. There was one round in particular that we saw something less conventional. There's potential that we see something similar coming in. Round number 1, Ben goes for the hot drop on the hatch, straight into the side. A very aggressive rush play overall coming out from Emergence. I kind of want to see it again. I want to see a rush play coming out of these guys, and you can do some real damage on Oregon. I mean, we saw the first series of the day. Straight in main lobby, plant inside meeting, and the bomb was down with 1:40 left to play.
I'm guessing that was not intentional. It somewhat looked intentional. They played it off really cool. But, I mean, that is just making the best of a bad situation. It shows off just how good, your gunplay is, even when your back's against the wall. You're literally in sight, surrounded by 5 defenders, and you're like, please help me. I am stuck. And, they're able to find 2, 3 kills. It's just a great job by Ben, and it makes Siege really fun to watch, because you can see these really, like you mentioned, unconventional plays. They end up working out, and it's fun. It's just a fun thing to watch, a fun thing to play, fun thing to cast, and right now we're having fun talking about it.
Look, okay, there's one other strategy that I am kind of anticipating. It was seen. It received some backlash in the community. APAC North, we saw just the full 6 smoke meta coming out with Glaz. He received the buffs. It plays phenomenally onto Dorms. You just dump smoke into Dorms main. Glaz sits on the double window, and anyone dumb enough to pick their head out is going to lose it. Could we see the full 6 smoke strategy coming out?
I don't think it's fair to really talk about APAC North when they had to lose the game to get a higher seed. So you're really able to do something, like that silly stretch, like Glaz, who just absolutely became a monster. So I mean, it's possible. It's a little bit. But when when your coach admits that you were literally throwing on stream because you kind of had to, it's a little hard to take that strategy seriously. I mean, it'd be great to see, but take that with a grain of salt.
Well, I mean, so some of the big names in the scene have actually broken down the strategy, and you can actually keep that window, or the double window in Dorm smoked, 6 of them. That's a good long while, and that can secure you that plant, especially if the reinforcements aren't in the right spot. They're not bringing the light lineup. I hate to curse it, but I'm kind of predicting a Glaz pick. I'm a big fan of the operator. He plays very well. We've seen Kali. It's same thing, but Russian, right? So we could see that coming out. But Oregon, we're just getting the last couple of things sorted here before we go into it. I want to see a rush. I want to see something crazy. I want to see a blitz coming out, because that would be absolutely wild. And I mean, the guard break doesn't really matter if the player that's trying to abuse it is white screened out of it. Just waiting on confirmation as to how long we're going to be. We're talking a little bit. Salco, he's behind the camera. He's getting things sorted.
The remnants. He's skeleton.
It's been good to have you on the host, Salco. It's good to see you again. Oh, and he's not here.
Yeah.
But Oregon, the defender bands, I don't think we're going to see too out of the ordinary. These guys, they play a smart game. They are going to be going a little bit crazy, I think, getting into this. And I mean, look, there has already been a couple of instances in SCS. We haven't had it yet so far, but it's got to happen. It's got to happen soon. When's the first team kill happening? Like that, surely that has to happen at some point here in Oregon.
Okay, is it going to be a frag grenade kill? Is it going to be someone walks into the line of sight? I place your bets now.
Actually, it could be the other thing. Goria sees a kill, takes it away from his opponent by just shooting him through the back. So, I mean, the man just takes what he wants. It's going to happen, regardless if they have a say about it. So I'm definitely keen to see whether that does happen.
That would
I think we're sitting at 6 so far in the last 3 days overall. I could be wrong. I think it might be, but there has been a few, and not everyone is innocent in that situation. But we are just waiting on the last couple of things. It's Oregon. It's defense for Emergence. This could be that clean shutout. They did go to overtime, so they're not getting the full 3 points, but we've seen these guys come back from worse. Actually, there is one other pick that I'm kind of keen to see. That is going to be banned out. That's almost a guarantee.
100%.
Bring on the Kali, man. She does so much damage. The Lance fulfills the exact same role. You can sit on the rappel in kids' dorms, and no one is walking past that window and getting away from it. It's another pick that we saw. It came in yesterday, if I remember correctly, and there was it was Bone. Yeah, it was Bone.
I was going to mention that Bone.
He played the Kali. I don't think he used the CSRX too much. It was the secondary, the SPS MG9 that came in, but he clutched out a round, swinging into Jim, got the kill in the dying seconds of the round. So it's entirely a possibility. I mean, it's a risky play, but if it pays off, jeepers, that would be a one for the highlight reel for sure.
Yeah, I mean, but Bone is Bone. If you've seen Bone play, it's the Bone zone. I mean, it's absolutely nuts. If you miss your shot as Kali, they know where you are, you're pretty much a dead man. And that is really, you only can relegate the actual sniper rifle, using that for the sniper rifle, possibly for, its explosive lance. But I see Goria, possibly Dunny, something like that. What we've seen absolutely lighten up the kill feed. Possibly they could bring it out with those, one shot, one kill that Kali brings. It's high risk, high reward, and I don't know. Do you feel lucky, Panda?
I don't know. I've been blessed with some absolute spectacles casting SCS so far. I want to see it. I 100% want to see the Kali come out. She actually fits reasonably well into most rosters, that long-range threat, especially given how some of these changes have been made. Some operators have less favorable sights on the defense for those long-range contests, and 9 times out of 10, all you need to do is connect the one shot. I think there's maybe 1-2 situations where that isn't going to result in down or at least a kill. I know for a fact, if you tag someone in the hand before it hits the body, it's not going to down them. It's a weird mechanic. The penetration side of things for Siege is A little bit bizarre at times, but yeah, there is a chance it doesn't work. But 9 times out of 10, when you're playing at this level, you're not aiming for the chest, you're not aiming for the head or the legs. You're gonna click the head, and someone is gonna die straight away.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, we're still trying to wait this out. And Kali, it'd be absolutely wonderful to see her because a good Kali is just absolutely wonderful to watch. I think my favorite moment I've ever casted was somebody on Theme Park dropped a hatch and in the air got a headshot with someone as Kali. And that is one of the most amazing shots I've ever seen. And it was through a wall, too. It was through a wall, by the way.
Oh, peak Siege, 100%. I think, yeah, I had a similar moment, although it wasn't a Kali. It was an SSG style roam on Clubhouse. They 4-man dropped blue hatch, and then they got the bomb site completely free. But we do have confirmation. The game is ready, so no more stalling, no more talking. We've got Siege to cast. We're going to be heading to Oregon. Map advantage. Currently sitting with Emergence, despite the fact that it went to overtime. One more, and they get the clean 2-0 sweep and the honor of victory in the Playday. But we're heading into operator bans. We've done a bit of talking about them. I mean, what are the odds that we... Oh, okay, of course. We're going to have someone leave. But what are the odds that we don't see a Thatcher Maverick coming out?
It's possible. Like you said, we guarantee the Thatcher 100% going off the board. And right there, wow, you read our minds. We are Siege geniuses. And Thatcher's going to be going for the board. But I think this second ban can really, tell the story. We talked about, is Maverick going to be off the board? Is something like a Capitao, Nomad, something that would help, roam on defense? And it all comes down to what, we could see here. And we are going to see an ace ban. That, not exactly typical, but you could see why.
I think that's Renascence just reading to the fact they're starting off in the attack. They want some guaranteed way to actually get themselves in towards the bomb site. Surprise, surprise, the Spaniard being banned out. Mira not going to be coming to Oregon either. Actually, it was available the last time Emergence played this map in the qualifiers. This time, not so lucky. Final operator ban, it surely has to be a Cade, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm really expecting. I mean, Oregon, basement is such an integral site. You're just able to zap those hatches, zap certain things, and a Clash instead. That, I think, mainly Clash is for Blue Bunker. That is really the only thing that I can see the Clash coming in on, is you're just able to give calls out. Somebody just swings it out, possibly with an SMG-11. Mine now going through, possibly with an MP5 or the AUG. I guess that's really the only reason that we could see the Clash ban, is just allow easier entry into Blue Bunker and basement. Here we go.
That potentially some PTSD coming out here, because I'm pretty sure Emergence have played into it and they're not keen to go the same. But Jig hovering the Monty again. It's a bold pick. It's not going to be the case. He's going to be going for the Maverick, so he will be picking up the Maverick trick here. And we've seen a couple of instances here already in SCS where the Maverick trick hasn't been on point. I'm looking more at our elite over there. He was given the role at the last minute, but he did all right after the first couple. He got there in the end, but now defense starting up. Emergence on the basement. We are going to see that smoke coming out for Goria. Not something that we've seen too much out of him so far, but what can he do with it? That is the question. And Stizzy, you see he's been subbed out. Wub's going to be coming in. So we have a new face on the field picking up the mute. So we're going to have the double SAS operator coming in. And this is a defense that I've seen out of Emergence a couple of times. They're going to go for an aggressive contest here. You're going to have the elbow position. They're also going to open up the right-hand panel of E-Box so they can actually aggressively contest from pillars onto that blue bunker push. It's an aggressive style of play, and if they pull it off, this could be another very, very quick round.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Emergence wants to start on. They want to get this over and done with. Last map, that was a slugfest. That went on for a while. I believe almost an hour and a half. That map really went on. So Emergence, they want to get really strong start on this defense, and I think that starts with this defense that you mentioned, the one that they've practiced for, this double SAS, and just really barring any entry into the site, barring any getting even close to the site, and just winning out these gunfights using those Goyo shields is really key here.
Yeah, oh, look at that. What a way to kick it off. Ben, usually you see him on the roam. This time, he's holding behind the pillar. for someone to push down tower stairs, and unfortunately, Quinna is the unwitting victim of the 416 carbine. The opening trade definitely solidified there. And from here, that's a lot of utility lost, impacts and concussions now off the board. Not to mention that hugely powerful firearm that she does possess, not going to be contributing here whatsoever. And that is a huge setback.
Yeah, now, I mean, you've still got these Goyo shields, and you've still got these possible Maverick tricking that you might have to do, and you've only got one Ash charge to use. So, you know, any deployable shields that are up, they might just have to stay there. And there's two from Moved and Goria. You know, Maverick might be able to get close, but if they're that close, you're risking the fact that it could be a Vulcan shield. So a minute 29, we're seeing this hatches get on open. I think that's really key for Renaissance to push this attack through. They don't have, you know, the M762, the Zofia, so they're somewhat running with a hand behind their back, but they're doing the best they can. They got a minute 15, and they're starting to enter onto Pill.
Pushing in as the ban wave kicks off.
My.
You're always happy to see. You don't want these players in and already to starting that breach up. They're exposing a lot of these angles into supply. Ben, he's holding the angle, waiting for the swing. He finds one, can't find two, but the damage has already been done. Nebula incredibly low. What an aggressive play. Smithers being tagged up and waiting is moved. He's gonna find one more. 2 players left as they come to the end of this round. There's still 40 seconds left to play, but in a 2v4 with Smithers on next to no health, Jig and Smithers currently killless in the round. Emergence looking to make a statement here. They are here in Season 4 of SCS Champions, and they are a threat that should be recognized. Jig does go down on the site. Moved, finding yet another. Smithers in position. It's Goria, surprise, surprise, to find the final frag. He wants to be involved, and he shuts it down. What a round from Emergence.
I mean, Ben had a Chad move first round last map, repeating the exact same thing, swing or be swung, and finding that kill. The Thermite was not able to actually click it and open up that wall, so that was able to stay open. So, I mean, Ben, just even though they got one and they died, it's just the presence was absolutely huge. And I think that could single-handedly won the round, you know, opening the kill onto Quinner and finally getting that kill. I believe that was either on Nebula or Dunny, who was ever playing that Nomad last round. It was just a great job by them and a great job by Emergence backing that up even after their refrag.
Yeah, going up to dorms though, it's the other bomb site which can be rather notorious for how things play out. Can be very, very hard to get onto as an attacker. Can be very, very hard to retake if you're not paying attention on the defense. So, interesting to see how that setup does eventuate. Again, Emergence opting out of any form of breach denial here. Attic free real estate at the moment. They are going to be able to open it up as they want. No, it's surprising. They had the bandit. They didn't pick it. Well, they did 6 pick off of it now. Goria, surprise. He's back on the smoke. He's going to be picking up that role. And Mute coming out. Oh, sorry, not Mute. Mozzie, the counterpart of Mute. So information denial there, information gathering there, utility denial, a bit of stall. They've got a little bit of everything here on Emergence. Pretty well-rounded defense, and Wobbs picking up that role that Stizzy was holding beforehand is going to be on the deep roam down in the basement. Is going to be looking to head over towards Big Tower, and I mean, we've already seen how much damage he can do untested. Oh, sorry, no, that was Ben on the Jaeger. We've seen how much damage the Jaeger can do uncontested. But we'll see what Wobbs can do with it. And speaking uncontested, moved. He's looking for potentially a spawn peak. Well, not a spawn peak. It's a bit late for that, but he's looking for something aggressive from Small Tower up in office. If he can deny that position, if he can shut them down, he's already been a big player. He could make even bigger moves.
Yeah, I mean, I want to mention how the hard breach isn't there. And last time on Clubhouse, CCTV, there was no hard breach, or excuse me, hard breach denial, you know, like a bandit, mute, something like that. And they're once again having that. They're letting them somewhat take Attic, take walk-in closet. But the factor is they have to actually push, get the kills, and finally take the round. And that's something that we really haven't seen Renaissance get. They've just been able to get this utility, but other than that, it's really nothing. Some impacts coming through as Ben is going to be injured. Not taken down just yet, but I highly doubt that Evil Clouds is going to really risk it all to pick up Ben.
Nah, he's probably going to use Ben as a bit of bait here. He's looking to contest into games. Attic Wall has been opened up. Dunny and Jig over the side of things, just trying to initiate that utility dump, but there's no mate on the board. There's only so much utility to burn. A lot of control already conceded here by Emergence on defense in round number 2. Air jabs being set up. That could be huge. Smithers opens up on... Well, actually, no. It's just Ben bleeding out. Never mind. So it is still the opening kill. A rather lackluster one, in all honesty. He was shot from below in school. And there we go. The return. Wubbs is going to get the kill onto Quinna on that roam. Just, they have no idea, no ability to deal with this roam play. They're not droning out. And there you go. Moved is down there with them. They are ready to pinch in whenever they need to. And Renaissance, are they just not respecting it?
Yeah, and now Renaissance, they still have to push in. They have somewhat control of outer sight. They've got walk-in closet open, but they just can't push in. You know, Renaissance, they need to be a lot more aggressive, especially taking out this roam. You know, Dunny's put out these air jabs, but they haven't really done anything because this defense is just able to stay on this first floor and do work. But a great job by Renaissance in getting this, and now it's just these roamers left. Moves and Wubbs. Diffuser has to be planted, and that's exactly what Nebula's going to do with about 10 seconds left.
They can go for that big pinch execute. They could look to impact things. And speaking of impact, it's a nitro cell from taken by Wubbs. Unfortunately, he's fragged out by Jig and just on the clock. If he can land the spray, he's got to get one more. He's right there. You see him? No! How? Oh, he's got it! Moved with the big clutch, pushing in by himself for 3 kills. Unfortunately, Jig undone by his connection. And what a way to take round number 2. Yeah, even they had no idea. They had no idea he was on the plant, and that could have gone horrifically wrong for Move.
I was a little loud there, but wow. That you saw the panic and where are they, and absolute blending in the camouflage of Smithers right there with the plant. Actually almost got it down. And if Mozzie would have lost that, that is something you cannot come back from. That is, you got to leave. Like, you got to leave SCS right there, because that is just coming back. A great job, a great C4, and Wubbs, you know, dying with that refrag, making it a 1v2, and just a great job by the roamers. Even with where they were downstairs, they were able to use that vertical play that was, you know, not even made by them, but just given to them through other defenders, other attackers, soft breach, and just utilizing it to win the round. A 2v4 clutch by them. And Emergence, they are just looking really strong right now.
Yeah, I mean, talk about snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. A 3v2, locked out of the site. They had all the utility they needed. Air jabs were in place, and somehow the nitro cell kicks it off, removed. The guy at the moment is 5-0-1. No deaths on the board for him. The only player yet to die here. And all of a sudden, he's pushing in. He guns down another one. Doesn't see the defuse planter. It goes off. And finally, as the stand-up happens, he does get the kill. Unfortunately, some connection issues may have turned that into a result going the way of Emergence. But the way they played it was still rather phenomenal. And we're going to be heading back downstairs. Things are going to ease off a little bit as we head to kitchen dining. It looks, though, at the moment, we might see a bit of a vertical hold coming out here from Emergence. They're setting up, and Goria, he's on the Warden. It's an operator that has seen a huge rise in popularity since that 1.5 times scope has been put on the MPX. A number of players are keen to start rocking it.
I mean, I love to see the absolute mustache Ned Flanders coming through. You know, he's got that deployable shield C4, both absolutely great secondary gadgets, you know, able to get the kills. One's able to find kills, and the other one's able to allow you to get kills. And Ben, gonna be the first one to take Nebula off the board, and that is your hard breach, your dedicated hard breach. So that is gonna make getting into the set a lot harder, and you've only got Jig, who it's gonna take a long time to get these walls open.
Kitchen dining is already proving to be a real nuisance here. Ben, so far involved in every single opening trade so far. He's 2 in 1 at the moment. So each round he's definitely been involved well and truly in the thick of it. Has taken some damage, but he's still sitting healthy with that MP5. They've got a solid defense set up. They've got the Maestro. They've got an alibi for that deterrence, that mystery game. They're trying to throw their opponents off here with the Prismas. and they can be such a tool. Even the fact that they just give away your location is powerful enough in that fact. They're pushing in though. They're ready to start interacting with the bomb site. Air jabs out. You starting. They deal with the barbed wire. They can start that push into dining if they want, but it's really how they get that execute. They've even taken control of Showers. Smithers is pushing up Big Al. He finds the angle. Evil Clap. Oh yeah. There's a bit of lag, I think, going on here for Renascence. And Wubbs will get the refrag out. Unfortunate there, just the connection letting them down. Ben as well is going to be fragged, but Wubbs on a tear now. Found his double. Again, coming into this round, he is a force that is going to be unstopped so far. 3 versus 2, 4 versus 2, as Ben does get picked up. Quick spray into kitchen isn't going to result in anything from Quinner's jig as well being threatened. But there, Ben, he's just been picked up. He's found another one. Wubbs with a stairs. Boy, can they be stopped? The flawless rotation of the bomb sites. Like, this could be a very quick map.
Yeah, it's a lot different than what we've seen, but there has been a little bit of a lag problem on Renascence. We're going to a quick rehost to kind of get that all figured out, but there's a lot to go over, and a lot of it is good for Emergence, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, just everything seems to be going right for them. Even when it looks like it isn't going to be, it still does. You know, a 3v2 post-plant situation, or as the plant is going down, all of a sudden, you know, just move, goes up, finds some big frag, shuts it out on the defuse. Same with that round. They looked like it was going to be a good start. They lose one off the bat, but their positioning was there. The execute could have come in at any minute. But again, just the defenders for Emergence in the right place at the right time. They continue finding those frags. Triple kill for Wubbs, double kill for Ben. They're just looking to set themselves up for a big victory here.
Yeah, I mean, 3-0 already, just absolutely looking super strong. Now the site's refreshed, so they're going to be able to go down to basement, go down to kids wherever they want, and they won those sites pretty handily. Okay, barring kids, which was that clutch. Basement just seems super strong, so going up 4-0, you know, that just might be the nail in the coffin for Renascence, excuse me. But because that is just momentum is just absolutely huge. And if you go over and over again, losing these opening picks over and over again, that's just going to dig in your mindset, and it's going to dig into your mechanical skill, your teamwork, coordination, all that. And it's just not going to look pretty.
Yeah, I mean, just coming into that round, the fact that, you know, just Ben is already having the impact that he is. He's found some very, very key frags early on in these rounds. Moved as well. You know, 3 kills in the kids' dorm site. He's still finding a frag here or there. Goria, surprisingly, isn't the standout player for Emergence so far here on map number 2, and it's not because he's not playing well. He's doing his job. He's playing the smoke. That's what he needs to be doing. He was warden in the last round, but he wasn't really close enough to anyone to find those frags anyway. But just everyone here on Emergence, they're doing their job. They're playing their role as it should be, and this is what you should be expecting for Siege. This is top tier Siege.
I mean, it's great to see, you know, these individual plays, but if you can all get these individual plays as a team, you know, coordination, and then somebody steps up and just, you know, finishes it out, and sometimes it's different every single time. That is just how you know that you've really found a good team, a good set of 5 that can absolutely work together. I can't think of a single person right now on Emergence that is not doing their job, that has not stepped up in key situations and just gotten the job done.
Well, getting the job done is what gets rounds on the board, and they have been doing it quite well. They're fulfilling. It's surprising. So we're coming into this. We've had 3 rounds played so far, and only one of those rounds has had some form of breach denial, and that was the mute in round number 1. Sorry. That's the fact that they've freely given up a number of different angles without having to prioritize. That speaks to just how good they are. We saw it on Clubhouse as well. They weren't that fussed. They said, yeah, go on, open the breach. You're going to have to funnel through it eventually, and we are going to be waiting and frag you out. So I asked that question earlier. What is the answer here for Renascence? What can they find? What can they do? How do they need to play this? Is it the droning that's letting them down? Is it the flank watch? What is it that is allowing Emergence to run away with these rounds the way they are?
Right now, it seems that the flank watch, I guess it's not exactly doing its job. It seems to be on autopilot a little bit. You know, we've seen these nomad air jabs. They've come out a little bit, especially, you know, on the second round. We saw Dunny locating that and it almost did nothing. You know, it just allowed a little bit more caution, but still we did see, you know, Moved and Wubs still were able to complete that 2v4 clutch post plan while playing that all kind of thing. And on defense, it's just seeming to absolutely rock all over them. You know, Nebula went down early in that third round, and that's such a key operator that it's not so much flank, it's just a little bit, you know, lacking that strength, that fortitude, especially in the beginning of the rounds, which spawn peeking, that exactly is what it really relies on, is just you being lazy, not, you know, checking the windows, checking where somebody can be, and just going through the motions. And it seems right now that that's what Renascence is doing. They're just kind of going through the motions, doing everything, you know, default, putting the air jabs where they need to be, putting the thermites, everything, and it is not working whatsoever. Emergence is going above and beyond.
Well, we just had confirmation that we are ready to get back into it. The rehost has been sorted. We're going to be heading back into round number 4. 3 rounds already have been won by Emergence rather convincingly at the end of the day. Even the round on kids' dorms, it was still rather decisive at the end. Move just had free reign, swung the door, got the guy watching the diffuser, and then killed the diffuser as well. Now, like you said, bomb sites have reset. Emergence going to be heading downstairs, and basement was the most brutal bomb site that we have seen Renascence play into so far. They were just gunned down every opportunity. Ben with an early contest onto Quinners on tower stairs. Something has to change, and it has to change pretty drastically. At the moment, they're bringing the same operator lineup. Surely something has to go right for them.
Yeah, we're seeing the exact same operator lineup just coming through. So I don't exactly expect anything to be different on the defensive side. It's just, will Renaissance's attackers kind of play similar? You know, you mentioned how Quinner went down really, really early to Ben. That cannot happen for you to win these rounds, because Emergence, they're getting these opening picks and they're just forcefully getting the rest, using that advantage that they're given. So you have to get that opening pick. You've got to be aggressive. You got to stand your ground. And that is the only way that you really can get close to winning these rounds, because I mentioned that Emergence was going above and beyond. I guess Renascence needs to go above and beyond. That doesn't exactly make sense, but you get the
Emergence are going above and beyond. You know, Renascence need to go stratospheric. That's how far they have to go to overcome here, it feels. But I mean, there's a couple of situations here where Renascence, they're letting themselves down. You know, Quinn has pushed down tower stairs. He had an idea that there was someone there, but there was no drone play. You know, if there had been someone on the drone, even if you'd pushed it through tarps, they could have given you that indicator that someone was sitting aggressively watching that same angle. So I think they need to be a little bit more wary, a little diligent with their information gathering. And Quinn, yeah, okay, he's you know, bitten once, twice shy. He's not too keen to die to the same thing. Slows the push down into tower. He's going to take his time, make sure he does his job, gets that information. But look who's waiting. It's Ben again. He's ready and willing to go for that same kill. Quinn, he's going to put down the Claymore and goes for the drone this time. But Smithers, he gets one back onto Ben. Second time now that and unfortunately, just not watching the positioning correctly, they left that open. They should have known that Smithers was going to be there to contest.
Yeah, Ben, he's just involved in the opening pick somehow, some way. 2-2. It's just, he just likes to be involved early. And now, as the smoke backs off, this means that Renascence, they're just going to be allowed entry into Blue Bunker, and Smithers finding Wubs. This is the key to winning these rounds. Of 5v3. You just need to finish the job, not let it up. We've seen these clutches come through, and the job is, will Emergence, we know, Goria, Evil, Move, will they come through and absolutely bring it to 4-0, or Renascence finally win their first round?
Well moved. He's sitting in freezer at the moment. He's a very, very solid anchor in these positions. He's not going to give up any positional advantage if he doesn't have to. There is positional play coming in. They're starting to establish those lines of sight. Moved. Look at that long. If someone walks in, they're in a lot of trouble. That Orgate 2 can dish out a decent chunk of damage, especially if you click on the head. Look at Evil Clouds, though. He's coming in from behind. He might be able to find something, but it's Goria to find the return. Evil Clouds finds it and evens things up. Smithers and Dunny down now. Health advantage absolutely minimal at best, but with a minute left, the score is even player count wise. Goria, he's holding his ground, he's waiting, SMG 11 in hand, ready to contest, moved as well. Quinners at least will get Evil Clouds back. E-box drop does happen, but look at this, the crossfires they've set up. It's gonna be Renaissance who have to force their way in. Moved gonna rotate the crossfire there for Goria, and Moved might be able to abuse here. They've got no idea. Oh, the frag down. They figured out where Moved is. The rotate hole's there. Pre-fire comes out. Jig, he's back in it. They've got themselves around on the board. There is some breathing room here, it seems, for Renaissance.
Yeah, that was the key round that you needed to win, because like I mentioned, that could be the nail in the coffin. And winning that basement site, which you lost pretty heavily, is definitely a good sign for how things can come back. You know, they can blame their previous losses all on lag now, because this rehouse, it's given them new life. And we're going back down to basement. So we're not seeing a Goya this time, unless Evil Clouds is going to be over that 6th pick, but seems that we might be staying on that Malusi for now. But the same operator lineup attacking. We saw a great job by Smithers getting those opening kills. I mentioned the opening kills. You needed to be aggressive. You got that early man count. But Renaissance, they almost let it up. It was a 3v3, but frag grenades and some key positioning kind of really got them through, and they won the round.
Yeah, I really have to respect this read coming out of Emergence right now. The Goya really hasn't done anything for them. The only kill I think we've seen from the Goya so far has been with that Vector instead. So I think this is great. You know, bring the Malusi, slow things down, change up how these gunfights are going to be going. Yes, you have to sacrifice the Vector for an MP5, but that's not the worst loss overall. Now though, look, you got the Banshees, it's going to be slowing down the push. The real question is positioning. We saw Ben get caught out in pillars by Smithers, who just had the right angle at the right time. He then pushed in, found Wubs. They need to be able to contest that. They need to be very wary of their positioning, because if Ben does that again, you lose control over tower stairs. They can push in, they can get control of boiler, start opening up the wall into storage, and that round plays out the exact same way.
Yep, we're seeing these drones come on through, you know, defense just finishing up their prep, everything, all that, but they are going to know exactly where this Banshee is, where the smoke is playing, but the key is they need to take them out. We're seeing the exact same thing come out from Quinner. Ben being a little bit more cautious, not openly going to contest it, but they know that somebody is on these white stairs. In these early engagements, they've kind of somewhat told the story of these rounds. You know, Smithers with these opening picks, Ben finding too early in that first round. These opening picks have been really crucial for these teams. So who finds it, I think, can really tell you very early on who can win the round.
Well, it has very much come down to the wire in a couple of these so far. They're starting up that push. Whoa, it's going to escape, but Nebula finds the opener onto Wubs. Not quite lucky enough. Smithers just eats the toxic canister. Gory will push out and throw another one. Slows down that push from Con, so man trade ending up being the final result. Health difference though, Gory's just a little bit lower than Quinner at the moment. Not the worst situation to find yourself in. I think the Nitro Cell is probably the biggest loss there from Wubs. And Ben, look at him. He's back in pillars. He's ready to contest. He is hungry for some frags here. Oh, spray out onto Quinners, who just sticks his head out just a tad too long. And surprise, surprise, Ben's involved in the fragging. Nebula wants to get the revenge, but with the way Ben's fragging, you're going to have to question whether or not he can do it. He gets the damage, no return. But it's still a 4 versus 3 in favor of the defenders.
Yeah, and, you know, the advantage is absolutely lost, so taking this through is going to be an absolute challenge. They haven't really been able to come back from being down this man count. We're seeing Dunny and Nebula kind of come through this northeast side, but they know that somebody is really lurking for them, and Evil Cloud's pretty far away from sight. I don't know exactly their goal, because most of the members of Renaissance are by the site. You know, Dunny, Nebula going into sight. Dunny actually pretty close, as Jake is going to jump down and join them. So now we might see an absolute push on the bomb side as Move finds the head of Jig with that absolute unit of an angle. And now it's a 2v4. 30 seconds left.
I don't know how they do it. They know that he's been playing it every single round. And he's found 2 between the shield and the wall. And all of a sudden, Dunny is a man left against the world in a 1v4 on a Nomad. So no soft breach, no way to get into the site without forcing through those chokeholds. and you've got 4 people looking, hunting for your head. Moved, snaking his way forward, trying to find the angle for that kill. But I mean, just the way that this round is played out, and time, it's not there for them. They don't lose anyone else in Emergence. The clock coming in big for them. Not to mention, I mean, how do you see that position being played 3 rounds in total, and Moved is still able to get a double kill the 3rd time round?
I mean, that might show why the scoreline is 4-1, why Emergence have just been so strong. They're able to take advantage of Renaissance's mistakes, peeking things where they shouldn't peek. And going back to Kids Dorms, it's not, all hope is not lost for Renaissance. If they're able to win this 4-2, yeah, they're down somewhat, but it's somewhat of a typical scoreline. You go on the defensive side, you can even that up. So this round is where you really can salvage things. In Kids Dorms, this was, I think, where you somewhat got the closest to winning a round. That clutch was amazing. You just got to prevent that again. Go through the same thing, but don't allow these roamers to have such a presence, especially with the vertical play.
What a round. And I've said that more times than I can count now coming into this matchup. Emergence, they're looking to break away. They've got a 3-round lead going into the half at the minimum, for if they can get this one out too. And the last time we saw Dorms, they were able to just clutch it out in the end. There were a couple of things, though, that Renaissance did right. They droned in, they got information onto the player that was contesting Walking Closet. Ben went down. They did get that kill in the end. They looked to get onto the site. They swept it out quite well. And it was the 2 roamers of Moved and Wubs off-site who came in for that cleanup. So we'll see if they've adapted, if they've figured out what they need to do this time round to make it happen and move. Surely not. Look, he's going for it. He's straight into Small Tower Office. Window gets ripped, opens the window. But Renaissance, they're not going to fall prey to this. They have been quite diligent, I suppose, when it comes to the potential for run out. Smithers does shoot the window. I don't know if they know Move's there. This could be a run out attempt. He's going to drop off the wall, off the roof though. So Move's not going to have... Oh no, please don't. There's someone there. If they peek around that corner, they're in trouble. It is going to be Dunny. Setting up air jabs. Doesn't peek out too far, that's the question. Because despite it being a rather small gun, the P10 Roni is quite a powerhouse. And oh, look at this flank, Wubs. He's come up laundry stairs. He's waiting, he's prepped. He knows that... Surely. That was a misdrone. That was a huge misdrone. They have no idea that Wubs... Surely someone saw that. But no, I think he might be able to get away with it here as they are going to open up. I don't think they have any idea.
I don't know. It's possible the drone might have seen them as it cut away. Wubs going back to basement. I think they're not going to attempt fight. Being alive sometimes puts more pressure on this attacking team than, actively firing your gun. It's the thought that you could be absolutely anywhere and not know this. Ben gonna throw an impact out as Smithers returns with gunfire. That's gonna do a lot more damage than an impact as Ben goes down, again involved in that opening pick. And now Emergence, they are down a pretty key operator. That Maestro able to open and close those cams, able to shoot those lasers. That could be crucial for the round.
It's there's only been 1 round so far in the 6 that Ben has not been involved. Whether there's a win or a loss, it doesn't matter. He's been involved somehow. 1 minute left, or just over 1 minute, as they are going to be starting up their push. Wubs caught out this time, but so is Nebula. Goria swings with the SMG-11. He's still bottomatic. He's still alive. Still very, very healthy as well. He's waiting. He's setting up. As slowly, Renaissance are working their way into Trophy to initiate that push. The real key question is, can they free the player who is stuck in Attic? It is going to be Jig over there once again. Smithers flash in. They still haven't got that guaranteed avenue onto the bomb site. Moved has retreated to join up and provide some support there. Frag grenade going deep. It's not going to tag up Goria. They pull themselves back. I'm going to look to set up the crossfires. 4 versus 3. No sign of evil. He's probably looking for a deep flank. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was the case. So Attic has been seeded. There's a lot of angles that are being contested right now. Top cannot to deny the rotate into Kids. And Kunis, he's running in. He's looking for the plant. Can he get it? The floor is open below. That could be rough. The angle shots going out. Smithers the first one to drop in this push. Goria with the M590. There we go. It's Goria with another one. Another M590 kill. It's looking to pinch, and it's a 2v3. Line of sight there for Attic. Goria is going to aggressively swing. Ping's coming out. They've got the information, unfortunately. Quinners wins that gunfight. Nitro cell throw-in. They need to flush these 2 remaining players out. Shots going in. Moved. He's on the defuse. He's looking to clutch it up. Evil Clouds wins the gunfight. Jig moved. He's sticking. Pros don't fake.
Defusing attempt failed.
Yeah, and that was true. That was totally possible because Jig getting that kill out could have totally swung onto that defuse and moved, not being able, not in a good position, probably would have lost it. Now Emergence, they're up 5-1 going onto this attacking side. They only need 1 more for match point, and 2, a lot of pressure is off of their backs, and that is going right onto Renaissance's back. They're going right onto basement. That's the site that's the best for defenders, and this is a crucial round. A lot of these rounds have been crucial because Renaissance, they've just been so slacking in winning these rounds, and it's just allowing them to get an extreme advantage in these rounds.
Wow, just the trust shown there. Moved, sticks the defender, full duration, has absolute faith that Evil Cloud is going to be able to stall out long enough for him to stick it. And 5-1 going into the half, it's just, you said, Emergence, they've gone big. And to go even further than that, Renaissance, they have to go stratospheric to be able to contest. And it's not even massive mistakes that are costing them these rounds. It's just the fact that Emergence have stepped up that far, set the standard so high that they can't even reach the bar right now. Going into the defense, this is probably the best shot they have at picking up some rounds. 5-1 though, that's a massive deficit to overcome. They need 4 rounds back-to-back to equal. If they lose one, Emergence is point. No room for mistakes. No room for, just not, they have to pay attention at every stage. If you lapse for even a moment, you're going to cost your team. And the pressure, it could get to them.
I mean, that is really it. They put themselves in this situation, and only themselves can get out of it. But Emergence, everybody is really, as I mentioned, they're just absolutely doing their jobs. Goria, we haven't seen too much of Goria, but I don't even think that's needed. Ben moved. Wubs, they're just stepping up onto their podium and yelling, hey, we deserve to be talked about as much as Goria too. And it's great to see all of them come together, and it maybe what makes Emergence such a good team going into future weeks of SCS.
Yeah, it's there's another number of these teams coming to the competition that there's either a couple of very well-known players, or the org itself is very well known, and they sort of are these measured quantities. And Emergence, they're coming into it. Yes, they took the semi-finals. They didn't quite get the win though. In the last season, they've come in. They just barely snuck in under the line to make it into the season. But they're proving why they deserve to be here. The star factor, almost, I suppose, is the best way to describe it. The way they play this game, unfortunately, I say that his move is just going to get absolutely obliterated by Dunny, who's contesting bottom laundry. The stuns were going in. They've already pressured into the bottom of laundry stairs. Yes, it's a 4v5, but they've got players in the vicinity. They're looking for that roam. They've got rounds to work with at the very least. So if Emergence loses this, it's not the worst situation. I say Wubs is going to even things up. Jigs goes down. He's taken some damage, but now he can start opening that security hatch. Oh, no. Surely not. Surely he's not going for a hot drop on the hatch. He's sitting on top of it. Could be the play. Evil Cloud swings. Finds some damage onto Dunny. Stuck himself in behind the washing machines. Just wait for now. Take it easy. Knows that at some point someone has to reload. Goria with a friend. And we thought this could have been that round going the way of Renaissance, but it's not going to be the case, it seems. It's just Emergence out of nowhere. Fine frags! And the swing back. Evil Clouds takes down Dunny. It's all coming apart here at the seams. What can they do to stop this Emergence roster?
I mean, it's like trying to stop a boulder with a sharp stick. It's just not going to happen. And right now, sight angles are just absolutely being held by Emergence. Quinner could somewhat change the round, but I highly doubt that, as there we go. We do see the angle being held by Ben, and Wubs finishing it out. Very close to a flawless round in a 4-man attack. It looked like it was going Renaissance's way, but Emergence are just too strong right now.
Yeah, there's a number of teams like this in the competition. You're like, cool, we've got the opening frag. We can look to build this momentum. We should just be able to steamroll this. Never count a team out in SCS. As soon as you start to get overconfident, that's exactly what happens. Never underestimate these guys, because they will find the frags if they need them, and that's exactly what they did. They won basement. They won it commandingly. They've got themselves map and series point here. One more is all they need. It's Kids Dorms. Their attack is looking very solid.
Yeah, it's really hard to see them, to see Renaissance coming out with the win here, because Basement, like I said, that was your best shot. That was your site that is the most defender sided. And now you've got possibly Attic coming through, move with the Thermite, walk in closet. You do have the Cade on Dunny, but I mean, you've still got Wubs, Evil Clouds able to go underneath. And I don't doubt that if anybody really tries to contest this soft breach, taking out these Electric Claws, that, Wubs and Evil Clouds are just going to absolutely destroy them, because their guns have just been absolutely on fire. I mean, Gore, we haven't really talked much about Glory, but after the rehose, they're 6-2, double what anyone else on their team is there now.
Well, I mean, the guy is just putting up stats right now. 18 and I think it was 7 or something at the end of map number 1. 6-2 after the rehost. I can't remember exactly how many kills he got before it, but they're 3-0, so he must have picked up a couple at the very least. This man is going to have one of the greatest kill death lines going into play week 2. That I would imagine there are a number of teams who, as soon as this is done, VOD reviews are going to be starting. At least whoever is versing them next week, they need to know what they're going to be coming into. And this is a team I 100% believe can contest some of those top 2, top 3 positions. The fact that they made it to semis in the last season speaks enough for itself. But the fact that they're coming out with a performance like this is absolutely astounding. They are just stringing together frags. They're playing off of each other. Honestly, I'm kind of jealous that I'm not sitting in comms with them, because I could only imagine how clean it must be. Unfortunately, Jig is going to find the opener onto move. Ben going down as well. At least Renaissance, they're not going to roll over on this. They're going to get a couple of kills back, look to contest the round. But even still, we've seen how this goes time and time again. Just because they got the opening 2 doesn't mean Emergence are out of it yet.
Attackers recovered the bomb.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows that how strong they are, and how Renaissance, they just really haven't been able to contest that. Even if after they are just up 2-man, they are just not able to know from our point of view that the round is just still in contention, still in question. You've still got Goria up, you've still got Wubs out. That frag grenade, unfortunately, that looked like it was headed straight for that deployable shield, but that is going to get caught out, and Wubs going to start that chipping away as Jig is going down.
Impact's off as he has taken a goo mine to the leg. They have that avenue up, White says, if they choose. They can look to, set Goria outside double window. We know just how well the man can frag. He's got a frag grenade left if he wants to try and tuck it into that corner. Hell, he could even land one onto Dunny. Running the TCSG, it's not the greatest of guns, especially given that its mag size is rather limited, or Evil Clouds in the fell is spotted. Will take some damage, but the recontest is there. Nebula in a bit of trouble, but he wins the gunfight at the end of the day, so it doesn't matter. Quinna as well finds Wubs. It's Goria in a 1 versus 4, L8, and frag grenade in pocket. Could do it, unfortunately not. Dunny, he does use that TCSG, shuts him down, and finally, they have stalled out the momentum. The real question, though, is Light. Can they keep stalling out that momentum? They've only got 2 rounds. They need 4 for overtime. Insurmountable odds doesn't even come close to describing it.
I mean, they stopped the boulder just for a little bit. It got caught between some trees, but it is still absolutely rolling down that hill. And they've got to go back down to basement, a site that, like before, was 4-0 for these attackers. They just absolutely clean sweeped and moved. Definitely could have been a flawless if moved had, possibly not peaked it so soon. But same operator lineup on both sides. Will this defensive strat change? Will we possibly see more roaming, a better roam coming out here?
Well, I mean, we've already seen the different approaches between both teams. Renaissance, they forced down Big Tower and through construction. And Emergence, they decided laundry and the hatches were the play and smashed it out. So it's really going to come down to how both teams look to execute, how well they can position themselves to capitalize on any misplays. And Jig, he has seemed to have warmed up a little bit. Not quite as much as he did in map number 1 on Clubhouse, but he's still finding frags here or there. In fact, him and Nebula are leading on score post the rehost for the team. And, well, I mean, the performance has spoken for itself on the side of Emergence. They just are... They're gelling. They're just gelling perfectly. They're playing off each other. I've said it again and again and again. for some reason, it's just clicking for these guys. And maybe it's Renaissance are a newer roster. They're not quite, no, they haven't been together as long as Emergence. But I know for a fact that there has been some chopping and changing of rosters. They've got a sub in today. They haven't got their standard IGL, and the fact that things are coming together so cleanly, despite that fact, is pretty phenomenal.
Hey, winning up these rounds pretty closely, and while this map is not over, it's pretty close. If Renaissance, they're able to bring this back, we owe a due diligence to them, a definite apologies, but they've got a long way to go against a strong Emergence team, and already these anti-roams being set up, and right now these execution Nidronis are coming out. Emergence want to know exactly how they want to push this through and how they want to enter this site, but they've got a little bit to go through. They've got the smoke, they've got the Wamai and the Maestro, all to push through, but they have the time on their side.
And they are wary of potentially a flank coming in. The drones are there. They've got flank drones in position. Nebula opens up onto Wubs. That's another big kill, taking down the Maverick. Could be the avenue they need. In fact, he's going to check some chip damage onto Moved as well, but Evil Cloud's answers one of his own take. The Legion player could be huge. Those stalling goo mines are pretty definitive in terms of how they impact these rounds. And they know there's a player on pillar. Cloud is watching, ready to go. Nebula cannot contest this position for too much longer, because that's exactly what's going to happen. He's going to get damaged up. He's going to be chipped down. And it just makes it easier and easier for them to set themselves up. At the moment, the execute is moments away from coming out. They have the exothermic in position. They can push into storage if they want. But they understand the very real threat that 4 members of the Renaissance are still alive.
Yeah, the longer they take, the harder it's gonna be to execute on site once this wall really gets opened up. You know, Moves taking caution and opening up as Quinner is able to find Ben, but Evil Cloud is able to get that refrag. A really highly contested angle there being fought, changing the round as Dunny gets one, but is immediately refragged as Moves down as well. Gory, with help of the Nomad air jab, takes down Nebula. It's a 1v1 match on the line. Goria, I don't think they realize that Quinner is to their left. Quinner being very cautious going through blue bunker, but Goria has their angle on blue bunker, and Quinner just backing off easy. They have time on their side. They just have to play it right.
Ring around the rosy, diffuser is down, so that's the biggest advantage that Renaissance have. They know, Quinner knows, understands the gravitas of this situation. If he loses, their hopes are over at getting themselves a win in map number 2, and they're moving towards the same angle. Goria there, Quinner just around the corner. Goria's going to aggressively go for the peak. Shots in! And he's done it. Goria, they steal the series away 2-0 with a 7-2 victory on Oregon. And what a way to do it. Goria on the hunt, thirsty for blood, finds the kill. I don't think it could have ended any other way.
I mean, Goria, definite MVP of the match, showing up time after time, 1v1 to end it off, to show the prowess and the gun skill of Goria. A great job by them to win that out and make sure that we're not going to just putz around to eventually get to an Emergence victory. We're ending this right here, right now, and it's a strong win after a really hotly contested first map.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to see a team go down the way that there were moments of brilliance, moments that it looked like they could have taken these rounds away, and it's rough. It's gonna be weighing on them going into, but hopefully they can pull themselves up. They can start to come into this and be a real contender starting in the next week. But Emergence, unfortunately, they have a detrimental side to this as well. Now they've put a target on their back. They are one of the few teams that has taken a map as convincingly as they did. 7-2, that's nothing to sneeze at. So now teams are going to start paying attention. You know, this Emergence, we can't sleep on them. We need to do what we do to be able to actually come into a match fully prepared. Now, I don't know what the plan is. Salco, he observed that one. I don't know if we are going to be having him back on hosting duties. I don't know what the plan is. Just need confirmation from production, but unless I've heard otherwise, I think we might be heading to an interview. So yeah, we're going to have an interview. We're going to be having a player coming in. Look, Light, that was a phenomenal series. Coming into Oregon, we thought it was going to be way more even than it was. I mean, we went to overtime on Clubhouse. Yes, Emergence won it out in the end, but only dropping 2 rounds in map number 2 after going to overtime, that's not really a feat that's often seen.
Yeah, I think even after a lot of the members of Renaissance, started to get warmed up, Jig just, takes a little bit, but eventually they got there. they just still were just not as strong to defeat. And who's with us now? Who's this beautiful face?
It's okay. We just need him unmuted, and then he'll be good to go.
Hey, I'm alive. Okay, I had been
Woo!
server muted and I was trying to get it done myself, but here we are. Hi guys, how are we doing?
Well, look, I'll be honest. I'm a little worn out. That was a hell of a series. It was a hell of a map, and what a way for them to pull that out.
I'm serious. It was fun to observe, honestly. That's been my first time observing in what's got to be 2 months almost, and so I tried to give my best for you guys, and hopefully I caught those good angles of, especially of Emergence there in that last couple rounds of getting those kills. And speaking of Emergence, we have the man, the myth, the legend, Son of Finn, who has no computer, but he does have a microphone still. So, Son, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, guys. I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Pretty good, I gotta say that much. So, Blue and Light Rose, you guys were casting the whole time. I'll let you all take it away with the interview for a moment.
All right, so unfortunately, we didn't see you gracing our screens today, son. But the boys, they put in a monumental effort. They got taken to overtime on Clubhouse. They still won it out, and then just absolutely monstered Renaissance going on to Oregon. It must feel good.
Oh yeah, it feels great. So yeah, going to Clubhouse, we knew that would be a tougher map for us. Right now we are growing our map pool. We have a few sneaky maps, but our map pool is growing, and we're gonna become really scary on a bunch of maps real soon. So be prepared for that.
Well, I mean, there are a couple of standout players from your roster, Ben, and but of course, Goria just went absolutely ballistic in map number 1. Moved the entire team, really stepped out throughout that. So obviously, you know, going into the qualifiers, you were almost knocked out in the final match that you guys played. Coming into week number 1, that's a huge statement to me. You guys obviously have been putting in some big work.
Yeah. So during the off season, we basically what happened was last season that we were in here, we basically didn't scrim at all. We basically just went in and played the games. So this season we're actually getting like consistent practice in. We're learning new strats really fast. Like all the stuff that we did in Oregon was new stuff that we're learning. So we're just learning everything really fast, getting a bunch of new strats in, and like it's just been really dominant recently.
Look, I'll ask you one more question before I hand it off to my co-caster Light. But there was a particular round that caught our attention to kick things off. Round number 1, Clubhouse. Ben went for an aggressive kitchen hatch drop on Hibana. Is that something you guys have been practicing?
Yeah, he actually accidentally fell down the hatch. Like, no joke, he accidentally fell down the hatch.
Okay, so all this time we spent, you know, like building him up as this big brain player, dropping in aggressively looking for kills. It was 100% an accident. Cool.
Yeah, you know, accidents sometimes work out in your favor, so, you know.
Now, Light, obviously you were there with me. We had some phenomenal rounds. Surely you've got some burning questions waiting.
I mean, I just want to know, like, how were the subs? We saw 2 different subs. You know, we saw Wubs and Stizzy. Was any of that, you know, coordinated at all, knowing that you couldn't play? How was kind of playing around the sub, playing with the sub, being down in IGL? Did that hinder you guys at all?
Being down on IGL, what I've been doing is, I used to be a coach before I actually joined the main roster. So I've actually worked with Goria on IGLing before. And he's doing a fantastic job. He's getting way more confident and stuff. But so I was confident in his IGLing. The subs, basically, it's basically like Stizzy was on our team all last season, so he knows everything. His computer died on him, so we had to use an emergency sub. We shouldn't have to use that ever again, because, well, first we can't, but
I was about to say.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't mind using the emergency sub. I'll be back next week. We're going to our normal routine starting Monday. So yeah, but Goria did fantastic today. I'm super proud of him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much. I just think that was a really enjoyable game to watch. Sako, off to you.
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, it was really enjoyable to observe. You guys kept me on my toes. I was jumping back and forth because so much was happening so fast. You know, it was a fantastic one to watch. I've got 2 things for you. First off, what do you want to say to the supporters that you have in the chat? I saw that Emergence is here in the flesh in the chat right now. So what do you want to say to them, any of your fans out there?
I just want to say thank you to everyone who's watching. Y'all are amazing. I really cannot thank you guys enough. I love going back through the VOD and reading the chat and stuff, seeing you guys support us. It's awesome. It's even more fun whenever we're winning to read the chat. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, we love to see that for sure. And I'm sure Emergence is very happy with that. And then my final question is, what do you guys want to say to your opponents, in particular Renascence from today, and then also from anybody in the future that you might be looking out for, or that you want to, sort of get things going with?
I just want to say good game to Renaissance today. They're a good team. They're a good team. Their clubhouse was really good. Like I was impressed at their clubhouse play. So,
Mhm.
they're a great team, and I'm just really looking forward to playing everybody. I love that we're playing everybody. It'll show who truly the best teams are at the end of the season. So I just love that. So good luck to everybody, and I think this was a really successful first week of SCS. So
I would say so. I mean, you guys are currently tied for that first place spot with Redux and Pride, given that you, you will be pretty close in terms of points. Round differential might be a little bit different, but you guys are looking pretty solid, I would say. But in any case, I think that's going to wrap up the interview section of everything today. So, Sonafin, thank you very much. We'll see you back here next week.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
With that being said, I think that is going to do it for our stream tonight. So, Blue, Light Rose, thank you guys so much. I will see you guys back here again. I want to say thank you to all of our fans. Thank you to all of our sponsors. And most of all, to our production team behind the scenes, Ferme, Galaxis, Bean, who was here earlier, Pond, Smith, all of our other analyst crew members. Thank you guys so much. And we will see you next week, starting off at Wednesday at about 5:50 Eastern. My name is Sako for SCS. We'll see you.